voice to the camera only.
Shalom, everybody. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
I hope everybody is having a Tawab Shabbat. And I hope everybody had a good Shabbat on Friday, the beginning, and now we're towards the end of it. We're going to go into our Sabbath class today. Once again, shout out to all the brothers getting this word out, teaching the word at Houston, isbhpk Virginia, isbhpk Rochester, San Antonio, Cabo Cabo in Guatemala, teaching brothers in LA and parts of Atlanta and so forth and so on. Hope everybody's doing well and in a good spirit. Once again, the Passover is coming up soon. April 17th, if I'm not mistaken, in Houston. Mm-hmm. It's going to be great to see everybody that we don't physically get to see on a day-to-day basis out here, that we can chop it up and laugh and spend some time with each other and just reestablish those bonds. So that's going to be a good thing that everybody, we should be all waiting for and looking forward to experience. But in the meantime, we got a couple more weeks. We have classes to teach. We have camps to deal with and develop. So let's get rocking. Today, well, last week we went over the story of Purim. I thought it was appropriate since the Purim was coming up that next week. But today we're going to go back over where we had been continuing on in the book of Samuel. And we're going to start off in 1 Samuel chapter 18. The 2 weeks before, when we were going over Samuel, we went over how David took out Goliath and how it was a major momentum shift for the nation, and how David started earning that praise and fame and respect that he was about to get because of all of his exploits.
And he earned it by doing things the right way. He earned it by being righteous towards the Heavenly Father. In this world, this society, people want to earn respect through just tangible items. Carnal means, just making money, or earn respect by stunting and flexing on people, or earn respect based on bearing their body a certain way and revealing their temple. Yep. That's how you get praise and fame in this time period.
You know what? We're talking before we even send prayers up. So what are we doing? What am I
doing?
We're
out of bounds.
See, we didn't pull verses, so we're kind of still saved.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do first is send our prayers up.
All right.
And get that going, and then we'll get started on the actual breakdown. But we are going over David and Saul and their dynamic and how it continues to build up and then eventually break down. So, Imagine. That's just us.
Sit down.
Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Ha
Nathan
Awar. Zayawam. Thawada.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the light this day. Thanks, so be it.
Okay. Too much, you get messed up. Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Ha Nathan Rayach Nayachacha Thawada.
Aman. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us sweet savor. Thank you, so be it.
Majum, upon your Shalom. Shalom, everybody online. Shalom, Bachar. Shalom, Brother Moshe. How y'all doing? Okay. Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Ha Nathan Shabbat. Shalom. The water.
Aman.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it.
Psalms 121. Anashya,
Ayanyamya,
Ahoyam, Ma'aya, Yabu'a, Isaiah, Yabu'a, Ma, Yehovah, Sha'isha, Shemayim, Wa'arataza, La'a, Yonathan,
Lamawat,
Rogalia, Yala'a, Nawam, Shashamoya, Hana, Yala'a, Nawam, Wala'a, Yashun, Shashamomar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shemaya, Yahweh, Zazalia, Ayah, Yanyamya, Yad, Hashemash, Yala'a, Hakaya, Bayawam, Wala'a, Halabana, Balayala. Say it again. Balayala. Yahweh, Yashemaya, Makal, Rad, Yashemar, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashemar, Hawalakia, Wabua'aya, Ma'aitha, I will Aman.
I will lift my eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, even from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Israelite Credo. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Allahayna, Yahweh, Achad.
Here Israel.
I gotta say it 3 times. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Allahayna, Yahweh, Achad. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Allahayna, Yahweh, Achad.
Hear Israel, Yahweh our power, Yahweh is one.
Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayah, Kodash, Hayah, Shumka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Thaba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayah, Nathanawa, Lacham, Ko, Yawam, Wasalachana, Wala'ah, Thabiyah, Banasah 1, Abo, Hawashayna, Mayan, Right, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Amen.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as is in heaven.
2. La'ah, Tha'ayna, Laka, Saul, Wala'ah, Tha'ibada.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor serve them.
Number 3. La'ah, Sham, Yahweh, Bashawa.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
Number 4. Zakar, Hayawam, Hashabat, Lakodashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Number 5. Kabad, Abaka, Ya'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
La'ah, Tharataza.
Thou shalt not kill, murder.
Number 7. La'ah, Thana'a.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Number 8. La'ah, Thagana.
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9. La'ah, Tha'ayna. Shakur.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Number 10. La'ah, Thachaman. Ko, Ashura, La'raika.
Thou shalt not covet anything which is thy neighbor's.
Barak Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Hawa'ah. Nathanawa.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the law.
Right. Enjoy your Shabbat. Take a seat. Let's get rolling.
So class day is going to be on the topic of Saul. Saul's envy of David, right?
Saul's envy of David, and how the success of David in his purest intent went south very quickly for him, based off the deterioration of Saul and his mindset.
And why is this such a good thing to study and to read about, bro? It's really good. Why did the Most High put in a book that it may be read forever?
Mm-hmm.
We gotta remember that the Most High says this word will be go into 1,000 generations, right? David really is a good archetype to study because he shows us how to be right, even in unfair circumstances.
Well, and it also shows you, along with other verses, that the glory of the Most High is manifested more when you're doing the right thing and you're suffering behind it, versus if you're doing the wrong thing and you're getting stung for doing the wrong thing.
Because there's two different situations, like you said. I got stung and I did everything wrong. And you know what? I deserve the condemnation I'm experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve the affliction of my conscience and the problems of my life because I did things the wrong way. That's fair. That makes sense. That is logical. But if I'm doing everything right for the name of Christ and the Father and for my people, my nation, and I'm still going through hard times and suffering behind it, that shows a person's true intent is righteousness, because I'm not going to deviate. I'm not going to change things up and I'm not going to please myself and indulge because I know I'm getting stung anyway. I'm getting stung anyway. I'm already going to lose. So why not just do me? That's people's mindset. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to do me as much as I can because I'm going to lose anyway.
Let me pull this verse before we go into this topic.
Yeah.
1 Peter chapter 2, verse 19 and 20. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 19 and 20 explains the path and the plight that David's about to go into for doing the right thing.
1 Peter chapter 2, verse 19.
Okay?
For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience toward the Most High endure grief, suffering wrongfully.
Be conscious of the Most High and conscious that the Most High is watching. What makes what David did so potent was, first of all, don't forget, he was crowned king in Hebron. He was crowned king as a teenager. Before he did anything, he was crowned. And he didn't, first of all, didn't let that crowning of him being king of Judah
go to his head, bro.
Go to his head. He came into this whole process being a servant. So the thankworthiness that the Most High is talking about was that clear, that consciousness of the Father, that pure outlook towards the Most High, because that is what is so difficult to get people to embrace. I'm getting done wrong. I'm getting attacked because I'm doing the right thing, and I'm getting punished for doing the right thing. But I still, in consciousness of the Most High, still look at the Most High in the right mindset, and still look at my adversary in the right mindset. That truly, if you want to sit, if this is why, despite David's eventual sins, the Most High said there was only 3 good during the time of the Old Testament. They weren't infected.
Ecclesiastes 51, I believe.
Yep. It was David, Josiah, and Hezekiah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 people that were pure in the Most High sight. And you can sit back here and see how David's consciousness, we're about to see how David's conscience and outlook was unfazed during the successful times and during the down times.
Both.
Right. Both times.
Because you can't really tell a man when things are good, you really can't see if he's really loving the Most High.
Can't.
Everybody loves
or listen, you're going to see where a person's heart is at in success or failures. One or the other. Some people can sit back and lock it down and get focused when things are hard.
Yeah.
When things are good, they forget the Most High. That happens also. Mm-hmm. So let's go.
First Peter.
No. Oh, yeah. Keep going to verse 3. That's right.
First Peter chapter 2, verse 20. For what glory is be buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently.
You're supposed to be patient and accept when the Most High stings you for something that you've done wrong. But the glory is in making the correction the right way when you're doing nothing wrong. And this was David's path. Read on.
But if, when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with the Most High.
Exactly. And we're going to go into how David executed that mindset when we start going into 1 Samuel chapter 19. Or 18 too. So let's start 1 Samuel chapter 18. Let's get Jeriah.
You said
You got to switch in. Well, hold on. We got to switch in. Jeriah.
I got you.
Jeriah. Shalom Shabbatah. Banya Hawada. Banya Shaw. Amaj. Rock. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. Okay. We're going to get that together, man. It's a little butcher on our end, too. And don't forget, you will go right to left. We'll get that, too. We're going to have to go into the marching. It's that time.
Class.
Okay. Well, that's going to have to be something we do.
I get that. I'm going in.
Formations, the whole nine. That will happen. Stay tuned, man.
Yeah, I remember it. I just need to get it.
And listen, like I said, remember all of us, because we're getting to the point where
It's that time again.
it's Army time. It's Army time. It's coming up. Soon. Okay, so let's get that 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1.
1 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 1. And it came to pass, when he had made an end speaking unto when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David.
That's beautiful, bro.
So what ends up happening is, after because in the end of chapter 17, Saul wanted to know who the hell was this young ruddy kid who took down mighty Goliath. How the hell did this happen? It is Abner. Find out who the hell this dude is and where he came from. What kind of guy this guy is? This is ridiculous. So after Saul started talking to David and really getting to know him, then we get to the point that David and Jonathan start building a bond. Jonathan, once again, was Saul's son. And he says their souls were knit. They were kindred spirits, kindred brothers, and they were connected. And they had a great bond with each other. Read on. And Jonathan loved him. Verse 1.
And Jonathan
was perfect. Read on.
And Saul took him that day, and would let him go no more home to his father's house.
This is also why the kingship was janky. The king wants you. You weren't seeing him. You weren't seeing him no more. He didn't come no more. He didn't come home no more. It was over, right?
Yeah.
But that was the power that the kings had.
There was a void in the house.
Yeah, there was a void in the house, and some envious brothers too. Right?
Yeah.
Because those older brothers was hating on him earlier in chapter 17. Okay, so point is, David lived in a big house. He was in the empire in Gibeah, because that was where the temple, not the temple, but his headquarters was in his hometown of Gibeah, where the Benjamites lived. Keep going.
Then Jonathan and David made a covenant, because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him, and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow.
You know what it shows? It wasn't about, a lot of times, their souls are knit, right? I mean, there was no rifts between them. There was no holes in the relationship. There was no voids.
It was pure.
Disconnection between them. So I'm not making it about physical items. I'm not making it about what I have. There's not that spirit of, oh, this brother got a brand new car. Oh, this brother got a brand new rib. Oh, this brother got a little money in the bank.
Yep.
Listen, him taking and disrobing himself, taking off his items and giving David. Just listen, brother. Nothing will come between us.
What's yours is mine, and I'm giving you the best of what I got. I'm giving you royal clothes. Huh?
Come.
That's a gesture of showing we're equal.
Yeah.
And I'm not above you. I'm not going to sit back and rank trip or power trip or position trip. If I'm giving you my royal garments and I see you in the same light as a person in the monarchy, because it was still a monarchy at the time.
It's true.
So I'm still looking at you in the royal court as one of the people of royalty.
Yeah.
That was position and power was still a thing back in those days. So I'm giving them robes like, listen, you're royalty with us too. You're family. Okay? Continue.
And to his and David went out whithersoever Saul sent him.
So listen, it wasn't just the one battle with Goliath and that was it.
Yeah.
He was constantly going out, fighting the wars, taking out these Philistines, and was backing the kingdom and empire of Saul. Read on.
And behaved himself wisely.
He always made the right decision. That's an important thing. First of all, the scripture says clean hands make the man stronger and stronger. So it's important that we behave ourselves wisely in all things. But he had a knack and an ability to sit back here and make the right decision all the time. The right call, the right judgment. And he was able to gain favor of the entire court. The entirety of Saul's court, you're going to read all down the line. He won the people. He won the people in royalty. He won the common man. He was truly a great all-around individual. That's why when we read earlier, a couple weeks ago, about when Samuel saw him for the first time, and it talked about his reputation about being a goodly player, valiant man in war, all these attributes he had, shouldn't envy, but we should strive to be as well-rounded as he was. We'll continue.
And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people.
Listen, you're not going to be over all the men of war unless you are rugged dog yourself.
They're not going to accept you. They don't have to.
They're not going to accept this. They're not going to accept you just because you took out one big guy one day. Listen, when you're winning people, you have to win people every day. If anybody understands about winning the acceptance of people, that's a day-to-day, month-to-month, week-to-week process. We're reading it in the story time fashion, so it comes like it's really quick. But over time, he's winning these people. Day-to-day, he's in the grind with them. He's winning the warriors over. He's winning the people in the court of the royal palace. He's winning them. He wins the common man. He just has that knack, that ability to adjust and connect with everyone. Read on.
And also in the sight of Saul's servants. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines.
What it's showing you in verse 6 is that he was still going to war and earning that respect one battle at a time. One fight at a time. Okay? Read on.
That the woman came out of all cities of Israel singing and dancing.
It was party time now. I don't know what kind of, what they were using for drums and bass.
Yeah, that'd be some big.
It was drums and bass. It was something not. It was some drums and bass going on. It was all kind of music playing. The energy was right. They just came back, bloody garments. The warriors going crazy. Everybody's victorious. The Philistines are getting pushed back into the corners again. So, the women came out of all the cities. Read on.
Singing and dancing.
So now the young women are dancing and partying too. Okay, read on.
To meet King Saul with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music.
And normally, the party is all about number one, Saul, man. Normally the party is about him and with his guidance and leadership. Don't forget, he's the tallest guy in the room, tallest, biggest, strongest. Everybody loves Saul. Yes, buddy?
Were they fighting already?
They had been fighting. The Philistines and the Israelites were fighting for at least at that time, I would say, over 100 years.
So
Probably, matter of fact, no, we've been fighting the Philistines for 300 years.
So when she was dancing, they were still fighting?
No, they just won.
Oh.
They just won one of the small battles. They had been constantly fighting off and on for 300 to 400 years. So this is one small battle they won, and everybody's dancing, and the ladies are happy. Okay, now normally, after a victory, everybody praises Saul. How do you know that? Because Saul used to make scenarios up to where he made it about him. All throughout the beginning of 1 Samuel, you hear about how he made everything revolve around him. And even when his son was the victor, what was he doing? When the son was, remember a few weeks ago, the son was the one who sat back here and had the cojones to go into the camp of the Philistines and
Risk
start
his
the
life,
war.
risk his
He
life,
risked his life out. And he sat back here and says, after the fight's halfway done, Saul was like, I want my vengeance. Let's all go now. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you rallying everybody like you did this, man? Your son did it. Anyway, the point is, you can tell from earlier chapters that Samuel was about the image, his image, how people saw him. Remember Samuel said, you don't know part of the kingdom. The Most High has removed himself from him. What was the first thing Saul said? Can we do a photo shoot real quick?
Yeah.
With the people?
Said, "Is this walk with me in front of the people?"
So the people can see
walk
that
me
we're
out.
good.
Exactly. Walk me out, but walk in front of people.
But it's that politician like this.
Yeah. Kissing babies out.
Yeah, it's the politician angle. He was all about how he looked.
Optics.
He was an optics guy. So he's sitting back here in one of these wars. He was fighting two of the matches.
Yeah.
So he got blood. He killed some people too. So he's used to everything going and shifting his way. Read on.
And the women answered one another as they played, and said,
This is a pure ego move. All the women is laughing, they're smiling, they're flirting. Read on.
and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000.
That hurts.
Don't
bro.
do it. Don't do
that
this.
Hurts.
Don't do
it.
this.
Reconsider. Read some litter.
This is when people start praising you, and it's like
It's a problem,
this
bro.
is like you're making enemies right now. You're
they
making
didn't know. They was getting caught up in the moment.
We love you, David.
You're the
You
best.
10,000.
And when Saul killed 1,000 too. Yeah, Saul too. That is a straight ego crush. This guy's ego was horrible.
David had the best verse in the track. I could ever like,
Oh no, he's going to rap to
it wasn't his song though. That wasn't his song. It wasn't his
It's
album.
like Renegade Act. When Eminem got him on his own stuff. I mean, we're being silly. The point is that when the ego gets in the way, there's a problem in it. This guy is the king. He's used to everything centered around him. So now this is going to...
That's the environment that's created.
Yep. That he created.
Yeah.
So now everybody's praising David a little more than Saul. Read on.
And I want to go to like these terms. I hate to say.
You're going, and you were going hip hop earlier. In those books, man.
No. I just listen. I saw.
That's good information there.
I saw. I don't read into it too deep. Yeah. But it said.
Black man's thing. Black men love that book.
No, but cats in jail. Well, cats.
Son, you don't know about that boy. He loves power.
The cats in jail out. They read it to like try to survive in jail and overthrow people in jail out. But it says never outshine the master. Right. That's like the That's a rule of I'm saying because this guy studies human behavior.
It's rule of thumb, yeah.
And so it shows that people don't operate on a spiritual basis.
Yep.
They operate on a carnal basis.
And David didn't even do anything.
He wasn't even trying.
David just fought his tail off for the Most High and in support of the king.
He gave his spirit.
The best he could.
Exactly. And that's the problem in Israel too.
Because the problem is this. A lot of people psychologically can't handle that somebody else's best is better than yours.
Yeah.
That affects people. That bruises the ego. Because that's the root of why the Most High chose you over me. Why did the Most High make you work and operate at a higher clip than I work? Or why are you more productive than me? I bust my tail every day. I work just as hard as you, but you sit back here and get more. The reality is you don't work as hard as the other person. And there's issues in your character and what you do that keeps you back from the things that somebody else gets.
But you can't hide it because it's so apparent.
Yep.
It's so apparent.
Well, it's apparent to everybody else but you.
Well, that's the thing. If I'm lying to myself for a period of time, and now there's real...
Think about this. Saul is definitely lying because Samuel said, you're not supposed to be on the king on the podium no more. Right? The Most High removed him from the kingship, but he's still there in the kingship. Not ready to give up the crown. So that alone shows you
for righteousness
where his head is at. Yeah.
Even though he knows he was one of the prophets. He was
But one time.
He was educated with the prophets at one time.
Yeah. So here we go. Yeah. So that's where we're at now. So read verse 8.
And Saul was very wroth.
He wasn't just you should think about this. Listen, these issues with pride and ego, they fester over time. He immediately turned up. One scenario, one song made him crazy.
But listen, everybody's had a good time. Picture, everybody's had a good time dancing, and then his face His face is like the only person.
David killed him 10,000. Saul killed him 1,000. And I'll be like this.
His face.
He's got serious all of a sudden, huh? And all of a sudden he's like, "What the hell is this?" And he probably leaves the party, huh? He's angry. He's done. Huh? He's done for the day, huh? He's done for the day.
The part wasn't about him anyway.
Well, it was about the Jews. It was the victory.
Yeah.
But listen, one time it escalated to like wrath and wrath, and extreme anger.
Extreme insecurity.
There you go. Let's keep going.
And the saying displeased him, and he said, "They have ascribed unto David 10,000."
Oh, they said he took out 10,000, man. Read on.
And to me they have ascribed but thousands?
Oh, whoa. That's a good.
But you know what's crazy? Maybe because he did kill more than you. How about that? Yes, sir?
I'm sorry. I know it's early.
No,
I got
Sabbath's different now.
Oh.
Sabbath participation is different than like a 2-hour like pinch situation. So you're good. What's up?
I had a precept for that.
What's that?
Why he got that favor.
What's that?
It's Ephesians chapter 4, verse 20 and 21. I'm sorry, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20 and 21. Why he got the glory in the church, being the people.
Yeah, read that.
Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think,
That's a good one.
according to the power that worketh in us.
So to the individual who can exceed our expectations in Christ. Read on.
Unto him be glory in the church
Wow.
by Yahweh Shai.
Listen, that's what we talk about every day, eh? Listen, the individual, the way we should all shoot and aspire for glory is to be the most disciplined, the most humble, the most willing to risk it all. Yeah. Listen, Thwada for everybody coming back on, man. This is Thwada for your patience. It's crazy that the thing cut off, but we're back running again. So
and we're going to meritocracy. We're talking about meritocracy.
Okay,
merits,
we were talking about
higher clips of production.
Well, read the verse again. We'll do it again from Ephesians 3 and verse 20 and 21.
Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly.
First of all, I'm telling you, everybody isn't able to be able to exceed abundantly over what the standard is in the church of the leadership.
Being productive, yeah.
Read on.
That is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think.
The highest standard.
Because that's what's being asked in the church that Paul was leading was, hey, to be the best you can be and to excel in mercy, patience, long suffering, humility, discipline, sacrifice, all these things.
Yep.
For those who are able to excel in these works, in the works of conscience and outlook, read on.
Above all that we ask or think.
Above, and that's a key point. Above all that we ask.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very strong point because a lot of Israel does just enough not to get in trouble. Just enough not to have my husband
to float under the radar.
Just enough so the brothers sting me. Just enough.
Hilarious.
I'm doing just enough
to get by.
To not get yelled at.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That thinking is very corrosive to your spirit.
Yep.
Because you're training your spirit not to go past a certain clip. You're putting a governor on your soul, bro.
Okay.
And now, when it's time, did you need the extra? When you need that extra, how you doing? When you need that extra shift, the extra gear, you've already trained your mind. Thank you so much.
To what?
You trained your mind to stop at this gear. So when there's more needed in the camp, there's more needed for the body. You can't come out yourself.
Yeah.
But guess who's going to be doing it? That one guy.
and see, exactly. What do they call a guy like that in the world? Mr. Huh?
Overachiever.
Well, yeah, but it's not that goody two shoes. It's always a negative connotation. Doing the most.
Kiss brown nose.
Kiss ass, brown nose, and that's how like the mind of people in the carnal world look at the person who wants to achieve to the highest. Mm-hmm. But in the Most High's realm, that's what He expects from us.
You make him look bad.
Exactly. You are making him look bad because his works are garbage.
I'm telling you, I gave 100% to
because this isn't about the person who's giving their all and it's just the Most High wants everybody to sit back here and double their talents.
Yep.
This is not about saying, okay, you have to be exactly like a Warren Irons and work as hard as him or do whatever. That's not what it's saying. But can you max yourself out? Can you be the best person you can be? That's what this is saying.
And the majority of people don't give it all unless it's worst case scenario.
I know.
Unless it's rock bottom.
Most people pace themselves.
We don't study unless it's rock bottom.
Autopilot.
We don't change unless it's rock bottom.
Yep.
We don't humble ourselves unless it's rock bottom. We don't ask for counsel
Until after.
unless it's rock bottom.
Yep.
So then you see that one person or two people that he's gonna do it.
You know, there's
rock bottom or not.
There's a proactiveness about this person that's succeeding abundantly above.
Exactly.
They're constantly pushing to grow in all arenas in their spirit. And for that person who's constantly pushing themselves forward, read on.
Ephesians 3:20. Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think,
Yeah.
according to the power that worketh in us.
Right there, because everybody has a certain portion of Christ within them.
Yep.
Christ has distributed himself to every man based off what every man's willing to feed and use.
And the Most High is putting the leadership in positions to be that example and set the tone and set the standard and the expectations of what everybody else in the church or camp should be striving for.
Sure.
So what Paul is saying is, in this church in Ephesus, if there's individuals that are willing to go beyond the initial standard
Yep.
that's being set up in the church, first of all, that's a great thing.
Beautiful.
And two, that person should be in a position to either take over that camp eventually or go somewhere else and take that standard that he learned to inspire and build others.
Yeah.
Because another scripture, I think it's in Romans, talks about teaching the word where Christ's
Right.
word
Has it not
was
been
never
named?
taught
Yeah, yeah,
before,
yeah.
were never named. That guy that's doing this, you take him somewhere else and let that word and let what he's teaching be the light and example in that other church. You don't stifle that person. You don't look at that person like he's a threat. He's going to tell you. Verse
But in
21.
Israelite history,
All the time.
of camps in America.
All the time.
I gotta say the history of America. Hey, book ain't been written yet. But the history of camps, there's always a almost oppressing of threats.
To stifle a person who's trying to exceed. Because you know what the problem is? When a person is trying to exceed what the leadership is doing, the carnal man takes it as a threat. When what you should do is give that person the freedom to see how far he could push
How
it.
far can you take this, man?
How far can you take this standard? And can I acknowledge that like Esau says, rules are made, not rules, but records are made to be what? Broken. So standards that we set are made to be surpassed and exceeded. And if we're humble enough to look at that, that's how we should look at camp structure, how the schools have been originated from the 70s on up. The truth is, if you can look at it in a non-partial mindset, there has been an evolution of the work.
This is supposed to be.
But it was supposed to be. It was always supposed to be an evolution. And evolution doesn't stop with this generation. We're supposed to get to the point where we can set a standard here in San Antonio again, and then somebody amongst this group takes it beyond what we can do. It ain't going to be easy, but it can be done. And then that next generation after y'all takes it beyond y'all.
And that's how the culture itself doesn't plateau. Y'all should be training the mindset. I want to do it. I want to learn from my master's mistakes. I want to learn from their strengths.
And do it better than
And I
that.
want to do it better.
And there's no shame in that. Because if it's going to be about pace and effort, then let's run. It's not going to be that granny store in the mall where they're walking like this and stuff like this.
Yeah.
That ain't the pace, bro. We're going to start stretching out them legs and extending.
And Esau does this with his technology.
God.
You can easily see it with his technology. Every generation is improving. You got one Jesus is not good. Let's get through. I'm happy. Just leave me alone, bro. I'm done.
Well, see, it's funny because even with NATO, I was reading an article how NATO, the expectation is that everybody in NATO has to give up 10% of their military knowledge and information and their weaponry to the pot.
Oh, wow.
But most of the nations ain't doing it. The only nation that's doing it is America. And nobody else is at least giving 10% of their stuff up. Because there's got to be an accelerated rate and money invested into that process. Listen, the NATO relies heavily on the advanced weaponry, the advanced, I want to say scouting, but their recon.
Yeah.
America's recon and logistics and their drone devices.
Satellite technology now?
The satellite drone technology exceeds damn near anybody in the world. They're sending a bunch of that to Ukraine now to help sit back here and help the Ukrainians slow down Russia. The point is that there was an arms race back in the day. There's a technology race back in the day, and everybody's pushing themselves for the next innovation.
For leverage, yeah.
But it's for carnal leverage purposes. In our arena, we should be pushing ourselves for the culture's sake. The standard of what this work was about. It should be no deeper than that. We should push ourselves for the culture. We should push ourselves to elevate the brotherhood up. Yeah. How can we elevate the sisterhood up? Exactly. How can we improve the standard of the sewing? How can we improve the standard of the zones and the malls? How can we improve the consistency and efficiency with the moves and deliveries?
Yeah. How can we get new men to come into a system and grow at a pace?
How can we create a better system?
Exactly.
How can we sit back here and clearly define the different elements of the system?
Yes.
How can we define the military aspect of the system? How can we define the teaching curriculum aspect of the system? Exactly. How can we define the brotherhood aspect? It's something to do.
You'll never be like, oh, listen, I heard for years, same is different day.
It was that way. I'm not gonna say it.
But I've heard.
Drink my coffee.
I've heard like people just waiting to die.
I know that.
And that's like, it's so uninspiring now.
Because you know, those are people that all they cared about was giving 60%. And I'm just going through the motions. I don't know why I'm so unmotivated. Everything is it's like Groundhog Day every damn day. Because you know what? In this arena, you're gonna sit back here and you're gonna fade out and be bored because you can't do quote unquote fun things, worldly fun things, or you're gonna be full of optimism because every day there's a new challenge to be met. Every day there is another standard that can be toppled down.
But it's the problem. To a person that's madness, and that's called extreme.
Is madness that?
Because listen,
we're crazy people at.
Every time you look up,
we're wackos, huh?
Vanity.
Well, no. You think it's vanity? To like pursue every day to push the program to greater heights? Okay, that's what
the other side.
Oh, well, you know what? Exactly. But people will sit back and say, "Well, damn, why can't we just take a break?
It's vain.
Have fun."
It's vain just to try to exist in this realm and hope everything remain like. I mean, brothers that quit, right? I mean, brothers that quit. I seen years later. We talk.
Okay,
we talk. No, I mean, I'm gonna be your brother. I'm gonna be your brother regardless, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then what's so crazy when I talk to them, it's like walking into a time machine.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I remember that, man.
And they're stuck in that time loop.
They're like Cuba, all right?
2003,
No
2003 conversations, 2003.
It's still the 1950s in Cuba. It's still the 50s. It's still going,
come on, man.
Little jackets out. Hey, Paulie. We got the cars with the little fins on them.
The greasers, man. The greasers like this.
Everything's still like the 50s. Like the whole culture visually is still the 50s because they got cut off by the states.
I'm
not.
He's right about that.
I'm not banging on Manessa. Right?
No, but when you're cut off from innovation, you're stuck to the 50s.
They're stuck in their era because they were cut off. They were sanctioned because of the Cuban Missile Crisis. But you see, they're a time machine. In the truth, we can never be just stuck in the era, and that's it.
And there's a lot of people stuck in the 90s, stuck in the early 2000s, stuck in certain eras that didn't go well, and everybody has these bitter thoughts and these bitter experiences. Everybody complains about the bad, But I always tell people, things were bad in the 70s. There were things that needed to get worked on in the 70s.
Yeah.
Things were bad in the 80s. Things were bad in the 90s. My thing is, if you love Jesus so much, and you're so concerned with the body not being taken advantage of, then commit your life to making it better.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sit back here
and walk away
and work and fix it from the inside, because I was faced with these same issues in the 90s. I'm like, man, there's a lot of good here, but there's some prehistoric dinosaur concepts in here too.
Yeah.
There was some dinosaur angles, like T-Rex shit. It was some dinosaur concepts.
The Triceratops.
Yeah, bro.
He was the king of the
pterodactyl. And this is what they did.
I never see these guys anymore. They're like this.
But there were theories and concepts that were old and outdated. That it wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
It just an evolution was needed in order for people that are gainsayers to see the process a lot easier in the past.
And that's not to attack the elders.
Listen. Yeah. Even with knowledge and the information, everything had to start somewhere and evolve. And if we're looking at it in all objectality, even in the birth of any type of civilization, church doctrine, concept, it starts here. And it has to evolve and get better and more specific, more efficient, and more consistent.
Rap beats from the 80s sucked. I don't like those beats.
I didn't like
them. King
Herc and Grandmaster Flash.
Don't you know that I told this cat
I'm bad from LL Cool J. That wasn't good.
Parents just don't understand. I'm like, who wants to hear that for the next 20 years, bro? I walked down the street, went to the house, walked in, then I saw a mouse. The drums are too loud out. The drums are too loud out. We're going to rock. We're going to rock like this. You got the b-boy stance. It's 2000.
Can you stop this? Can you stop this?
2022. And you got to I'm in my b-boy stance. Shalom. He's like, talk to him, brother. Shalom.
But you know what? But when you look at it objectively, that was the shit in the 80s. That was innovative stuff in the 80s.
It was.
And you know what? It goes back to breakdancing. You couldn't do rap without the breakdance.
Yeah, you
had to break. You had to do breakdance, and then all this stuff evolved into rap.
This part is missing something, guys. Where my b-boys?
Where's the cardboard? Spinning. The point is this: they look at it like that was horrible, but it wasn't. Everything had to evolve and grow in its dynamic.
We could have.
You can see how brothers ran camps in the 90s and 80s. It was like, wow, there was a lot of room for some improvement.
On a domestic level.
On every level. The expectation of the generals back then had to evolve.
Yeah.
And the point is this. Everybody wants to be a skeptic and a critic, but nobody wants to put the work in and fix it for the next generation. Everybody wants to use what they went through in a bad scenario to justify why they can be an individual and live their life.
Exactly. Everybody uses it as a cop-out to quit. Listen,
we're never going to get Samuel today.
Well, we got to get to it. But listen.
That was your fault. You see?
You pulled that scripture out.
You pulled that scripture. That was your fault.
Listen.
You opened the door, Naga. I'm going to say his name. Naga did this.
Yeah. Listen. We can't have Jerry curls forever and Raiders jackets.
Oh, man.
We can have Jerry curls and Raiders jackets forever.
Oh, my
God. It's supposed to stay this way.
Raiders starter jacket, too. And the
Chicago
Bulls.
Chicago Bulls
Raiders, Charlotte Hornets, and it was the Kings, the LA Kings. Those are like the top four selling.
Yeah.
The Kings was fired, too.
Yeah.
And it was those four.
Walking around with Jerry curl. That's deaf. That's deaf.
Oh, my God.
That's deaf. Listen, bro. Things have to grow. Israel's almost anti-growth because once I find a comfort level, time is supposed to stop.
Right.
And guess what? When times move beyond that time, now it's time for me to exit stage right and complain against the growth.
Yep. Or complain that it didn't grow during your phase. But you don't want to stay there to see it fixed,
You
to
wanna
see
get-
it grow.
you don't wanna get a
Everybody
haircut.
that wants to talk about how things were, no, they came back. They see us different.
Yeah.
Then are you going to sit back here and change that? You going to sit back and be a part of it now? Nah. It's cool, bro. Okay.
I'm beyond that.
Yeah.
I grew past the truth. People say
You
this.
grew beyond sacrifice and dedication and commitment to other people. Okay, cool.
Why can't we accept the Most High maintains the same themes, but we have to evolve as a body also?
And a nation and leadership, and that's why there's plenty of things to do. There's always an opportunity to exceed abundantly because there's plenty of holes. There's plenty of things that need repairing. The business can get better. The teaching can be crisper. The curriculum on how to teach can get better. How to make men well-rounded can get better. That's what the Most High says, or Christ says, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. There's plenty of work to do, but everybody don't want to do it. Everybody wants to live their life and pursue their own goals, and that's why the people who choose to be here are going to always be overworked. You can look at it as being overworked, or you can say they have the opportunity for the greatest glory.
Exceeding above all.
Because that's what verse 21 tells you. Give me verse 21.
Ephesians chapter 3, verse 21. Unto him be glory.
The glory comes from the willingness to the standard that's already laid down. That's where the glory comes from. The glory is in making your life uncomfortable, putting in the work, doing the extra, committing the things that weren't committed before you. But that's the number one thing people always ask. Why do this extra shit? Why do the most? Because that's where the glory is in. Why sit back here and suffer wrongfully? Because that's where the glory comes in.
And
The glory is in being put in circumstances that seem unfair, that seem not equal. But that's where the glory comes in. Having to lose the most means you get the most glory in Christ's eyes. And all that means is for the ones who don't want to give the most up, then they're rescinding the glory. The glory is in. Why just sit back here and just make it? If you're gonna make it, why not be the greatest in it? Don't forget. Remember when James and John asked Christ to be on the right in his right and left side of the kingdom?
Yep. Right.
What did the other 10 apostles do?
Got mad.
They was hating a little bit. Because nobody likes that guy that wants to do the most. Because it makes them look bad. And Christ said, I can't give you that, but you know what? You're going to be baptized the same way I'm getting baptized. So if you want it, you're going to feel that heat. So if you want to feel that heat, then come on with it. And that's where the glory comes in.
And guys, and this is why you have to accept that it's always going to challenge you. The truth will always be a challenge.
If you choose to make it about a challenge, you can look at it as it's a challenge, or it's just every day it's suffering.
No.
And every day
No,
I'm
I
losing.
can't feel like that. I can't feel like that, bro. I can't feel like that.
But it's Moses.
I can't take that thing.
Moses said, "Choose ye this day, life or death." So it's all about mentality. Do I choose to tell myself every day that life is unfair and every day is suffering and sacrifices, or every day is another spiritual challenge that's presented before me? This is what made David's mindset so potent. He chose to look at every one of these difficult scenarios as an opportunity to get closer to the Heavenly Father. And that's why his conscience was so much more elevated than the consciousness of most people. Because most people would have said that this ain't fair. What I'm going through isn't squared. Everything right, and Saul's starting to hate on me. That's not fair. Let me get out. Let me get out of this as soon as possible.
Can I make one point?
Yep.
Because secretly, a lot of Israel is looking for justification.
Yes.
So let's be real about this.
Yes.
I hate to go here, especially on camera, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Israel looks for, I want you to make me angry, so I have enough energy to just blow
I have enough fuel
Yeah.
to say that's why I want to go live my life.
This is why ethics.
Yes.
People love that getting that. They want the quick card.
Yeah. But this is what fueled Saul even more angry, because David kept being on point. So it was because the more David was on point, the more he was angry because he couldn't use anything to justifiably kill him.
Yeah.
I was using, or I was trying to send. You go read it. How Saul sends him. First of all, he had him close to him.
Yeah.
Then he says, "Okay, you know what, man? No, you're gonna be an officer of 1,000. That means those guys are the grunts.
Yeah.
You're out here fighting 6'10", 6-finger warrior gods, that all you know is you're just sitting here fighting the best damn Philistines in hopes that you're gonna lose.
And it never ends. The fight. This is the problem. In that position, your fight never ends. They will keep making babies out there.
But the crazy thing is this: but for a guy who is gung ho into the fight, it doesn't matter. It's a win anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's finish this and let's get through back to Samuel because this will be a forever angle. Read on.
Ephesians chapter 3, verse 21.
Great verse. Read on.
Unto him be glory in the church by Yahweh Shai throughout all ages, world without end.
Okay, I want that to be our damn mantra verse.
Yeah.
I want that to be our mantra verse.
You know what? Because the goal is to keep going.
The goal is to be exceedingly abundantly through above what was asked or thought about. That's a fact, son. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Keep up.
That's the one. Let's go to 1 Samuel 18 in verse 8. I love that verse.
1 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 8. And Saul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him.
Listen, when the woman was like, yeah, David took out them 10,000 boys, and Saul took a couple out too.
Really
Saul was hot-eyed.
19 was super hard. Well, what I'll do that.
Okay, we'll do
crazy.
it. Is it? Let's finish it up. Just write it down and remind me. Read that.
They have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom?
You know what's crazy? He's so carnal. Just because of one song, he's telling himself, man, he'll get the kingdom soon. He'll get the kingdom over one song and a couple victories.
Yeah.
He's like, man, he's gonna take my spot.
You know what? Because he already knows he's losing. A person with a negative, you can feel your falling. You can feel. Listen, I felt that before.
A person that's negative, what?
Listen, bro, I know. Listen, when a person negative, they can feel that they're falling. They can feel it. I was in Riverson.
That they're losing control.
I was in Riverson the mall. I wasn't producing for a period of time. I could just start feeling like that. Feeling like they're gonna kick me out the mall. They're gonna say, get out of here. Go to South Park. Ah! I looked up a couple days later. Hey, go to South Park. I said, you can feel your works start big.
That's so hilarious.
When the Lord's not accepting your works out, you can feel it if you're actually paying attention.
So you said you can feel the demotion coming out.
I was like, oh man, I can't run this tourist no more. Go to South Park, God. Go deal with the drug dealers, bro. Because you're not coming out yourself enough in this arena.
That's not a nice thing to say. Let's keep it that was very derogatory. Everybody that goes to that mall does not sell narcotics.
That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite malls. One of my favorite malls.
That's Trumpish.
That was very Trumpish.
Listen, a lot of them were selling drugs. I was like, we never had.
That's very Republican of you.
Let's
keep going teaching the Bible. Like, golly, bro.
1 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 9. And Saul eyed David from that day forward.
Yeah.
So he eyed him. Now all of a sudden his outlook. Don't forget, in previous chapters, and specifically in the it said that he had a demon on him anyway. All from one that was choking him in the middle of the night. Remember?
Yeah.
He had a demon that was choking him and giving him all kind of
evil spirit from the Lord.
Yeah. So that spirit was already in him, and the Most High Spirit already departed from him. So now he's this negative mindset. It's got an antagonist he can fix himself on.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's keep going.
And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from the Most High came upon Saul.
There you go.
And he prophesied in the midst of the house, and David played with his hand, as at other times.
So what he was doing is, this evil spirit was on Saul. David was playing his heart, okay, trying to sit back here and remedy that negative spirit on him. Read on.
And there was a javelin in Saul's hand.
See right there? You know, it's why you can't be around certain people, bro. Scripture, the Bible says not to be a friend of angry men. Now, you can't make friends with people that are always looking at things, the worst case scenario, and they have an issue, and then growing with jealousy and envy. You start looking up, you're going to start getting some people start setting traps for you, trying to hurt you. Try to talk to your boss. Tell me, hey, you know, he's doing this, he's doing that. You gonna lie about you at the job? You know, getting you fired, man. Be conscious of who you befriend, bro.
No doubt. Let's keep
They
going.
didn't have a choice though. But
Well, no, they didn't have a choice. If he left, he was gonna get. He was in a trick bag.
God.
He was literally in the trick bag. He had to sit back here and follow orders. And this guy, listen, you didn't know. Imagine living that life. You're walking on eggshells every day in the temple in the palace. This guy can throw a javelin at me at any moment.
And he's the king.
But you have to still be a positive guy. You have to still be positive and upbeat. Listen, you know what's crazy? It almost seems like the Most High said, the last king I had, which was Saul, I gave him the kingdom and it was too easy for him.
Right.
I'm going to make the rightful heir of the kingdom and throne earn it. People can sit back here and say David was overhyped, but he earned what he got. David earned every accolade of what he got based on how he handled this. Think about this. How he handled it in his what? In his youth. It wasn't like this guy was some 30-year-old grizzled vet who understood the minutiae and mechanics of how spiritual things operate. This guy was still a teenager, right? And understood how not to flip, rant, respond negatively, to react in an immature, childish way. How he handled this at his age showed you the purity of his mindset and the purity of his spirit. Okay, so let's keep going.
And there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it.
This dude was trying to pin him against the wall. First of all, Saul was a big dude. You knew this dude had velocity on this damn javelin.
Yeah, for real.
This dude wasn't no chump in war. He was not no chump in war. This dude threw a javelin right at his heart, bro. And he got out the way. Sheesh, bro.
Speed and accuracy.
No doubt. Read on.
And David avoided out of his presence twice.
Hell, he got the hell out of Dodge, man.
Twice.
Look, what does that mean? That means he threw the javelin and he went to get the javelin and he threw it at him again. That means he threw it at him twice. Read that part again.
And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice.
And he was hiding, and he took the javelin out the wall and went at him again.
This is went for a period.
This is a real violent episode.
This is not like this.
Multiple attempts of murder.
Yeah.
Multiple attempts of murder. Murder one. That's murder one. I'm going at this guy.
Motivation. He was.
I wanted him. It was motive. He had opportunity, and he went after it. Twice. How are you gonna think? You don't even want to go back in that room again?
Never again.
You're not going back in that room, man.
It almost doesn't seem what the world would call logical.
It isn't. And what it shows you also later on, you start reading that Saul walked around with his javelin. He walked around with his javelin. He started getting paranoid. Everywhere when he had his javelin, he was looking always. And I got to walk around here and play some damn harp with his cat.
That's the equivalent of somebody going to church with their gun in their pocket out. They gas with their gun.
Or somebody shoots at you twice and they miss. And you got to go back to work with this guy the next day. It's the same thing. I shot at you twice. I got out. And I got to come back and play the harp for you the next day, man. Like everything is okay.
It's hard to do.
Surpasses all understanding.
Yes. And this is why the Most High says we're fools for Christ. Because the things that we endure logically doesn't make sense, but spiritually it makes all the sense in the world. If you want to spiritually advance, these are things that have to happen. Anyway, let's keep going. Javelin wars.
Verse 12. And Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with him, and was departed from Saul.
And that's the point. David was a threat, because Saul understood when the Most High is working with somebody. He knows it. He knows without a shadow of a doubt David was the man that was going to take his spot. And so he's like, I'm going to keep my position at all costs.
And a lot of times people go to war with you, they're upset with you because of what you represent. It might not be you
That happens all the time.
But you represent me losing something. So I got to take it out on you.
Yep.
How to do it.
Read on.
Therefore Saul removed him from him.
So what Saul did is, you know what? Forget, I don't want you close to me. Read on.
And made him his captain over 1,000.
So he got demoted. He got demoted. Is that?
I would say if I would have had that move, I'd be thinking, okay, he's gonna come back after me.
Or that too. Or he's going, he's going to also that's what Saul's thinking, right?
Right.
Yes. So now you're David. You're like, man, I'm getting the dirty assignments. I'm gonna get the dirty bird assignments now.
Do that before he get me.
That's what a logical thinking person is. Well, he's like, I gotta stay on point and stay in order. And that's where David's mind. That's why David's consciousness in his suffering wrongfully was so potent. Because anybody else would be like, listen, or either you're gonna take him out or you're gonna run.
Right.
Yeah.
No, listen, normally a person would just run. In a king scenario, I'm gonna run from this king out. I'm gonna flee to Egypt.
Be a fugitive.
I'm gonna go to Egypt. I'm getting the hell out of here, huh? That's the logical play.
You're a political enemy.
That's what they did back in the day. When the king had a beef with you, you went to Egypt, bro.
It's amazing because it's like he would never have the opportunity to get comfortable.
His whole
In that
life
situation.
at that time. You're gonna read it later. He says, I'm an inch away from death at any time. But what it shows you is the dynamic of what it takes to truly have a potent relationship with the Most High. Are we willing to constantly put ourselves in these uncomfortable type situations so that we can get close to the Most High? What it shows you is comfort means or equals distance from the Father.
Right.
When you're comfortable, you're at a distance from the Father.
Right.
When you're spirit.
Thank you for helping.
Did you push that button down?
I didn't do that. I said anything. I just thought I was looking at him.
It's back. It must be back on then. I just got
That's
thumbs
the
up.
screen.
There we go. We're back on. We're live again.
Come on.
Listen, I don't know what's going on. It's like Satan is actually in the wire. You ever see that what's that? That Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Remember the guy that was in the plane?
Yeah.
And he saw this like hairy beast that was like tearing up wires on the wing,
Yeah.
and everybody thought he was crazy. That's what's happening on the internet. There's some hairy demon that's tearing up the internet over here in the wires in San Antonio, and it's jacking up the internet. I'm being silly, but point is, we're back on topic. Let's go 1 Samuel chapter 18,
Verse 13.
and verse 13.
Therefore Saul removed him from him, and made him his captain over 1,000.
Yeah.
And he went out and came in before the people. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways.
So listen, even when he got demoted and he got screwed over, he still played it smart. He was wise. He stayed in order. He took his demotion the right way, and he didn't let the knocks that came from the leadership above him affect his countenance, his attitude, and his effort.
And he get mad at God like people do.
People get mad at the Most High all the time. Why am I getting punished for doing the right thing? The Most High is not fair. That's why I say this is why the Most High loved him so much. And this is why he was a man after the Most High's heart. It wasn't just, he's a warrior and he kills, and he killed so many people that blood soaked his hand and he couldn't take his hand off the sword. It wasn't just that, man. It was his mindset. It was his outlook. His ability to see the Most High and stay pure regardless of the circumstances.
And I'm sorry, but it's crazy because this is the aspect of David that some brothers call weak.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not talking about blood. And
Yeah.
Raw. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
This requires more strength than being the greatest killer on earth.
Right.
The restraint and the humility and the understanding that he wasn't above. You know what made him so great? David wasn't above loss. David wasn't above, doing the right thing and still getting punished for it. That takes a great man. And he was a young man at this time to have that ability. He truly earned the kingdom. And then psychologically, to know you're the king and to still be humble, taking L's, taking drops in promotion. Yes, sir.
I would say that's like 1 Peter being buffeted wrong.
We went over that earlier. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
1 Peter 3. But that is the epitome of it. The living embodiment of what it takes to suffer wrongfully. We're going to hold this. We're going to go into Josephus a little bit. Let's get this. It is Josephus, book 6, chapter 10, paragraph 1. too far down without
Should have DOG reading because he had a boss. Time's right.
Well, we'll get him after this.
Okay.
You can hold him up to like 12.
I'm sorry.
You got it. So it's Josephus, book 6, chapter 10, paragraph 1.
Book 6, chapter 10, paragraph 1. Do you want the intro or?
Nah, we're good.
Paragraph 1, page 166, line 193.
Oh, this is me.
Now the women were an occasion of Saul's envy and hatred to David. For they came to meet their victorious army with cymbals and drums and all demonstrations of joy, and sang thus. The wives said that Saul has slain his many thousands of the Philistines. The virgins replied.
Oh, but hold on. This is what it said.
Right.
This is what it said. It said the wives, the ones that already spoken for, they were praising Saul in a spiritual, positive way. Read on.
The virgins
Who
replied.
made this song? Who got this song up? Get a man killed for this song.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Listen,
on,
the ones that can be taken,
Right.
the baddies out there, they wanted to what? They was into David, right? The wives were saying, yeah, Saul was great, man. The virgins were like, they were swooning over this guy, right? The young women were swooning over David, right? I was eating this guy up, bro. Listen, David was a handsome dude. He came out of nowhere, bro. Valiant, good-looking dude, positive outlook, and he's taking all the shine, right?
Brothers will set you up over that, man. It's
Yep.
the same spirit.
Yep.
It's crazy, man.
Man, oh, David, little light-skinned pretty boy out here getting all the yellows out here.
There's a song in every hood.
It's the truth, right? There's a song in every hood. Yes. They think he better than me. Listen, that's crazy. Wow. Read on now.
The virgins replied
That's messed up, man.
that David has slain his 10,000s.
That just means they were into him, man.
Yeah.
Let's look beyond the words, out. They were into him more than they was into Saul, out. And people can't take that shit. People hate that one guy is more interesting than the other person, and he's the king and he can't take it. Read on.
It made him feel real weird.
And
He's feeling really weird.
Weird?
Like a weird feeling was going in his spirit. Like
oh my
don't feel too
God.
comfortable.
Weird?
It's a weird feeling.
It's right in the inside. Oh my God, it's weird inside.
Because the song keeps going. The song is gonna keep going. It might be a 10-minute song. We don't know. They like they got 3-minute songs. Every song's 2 or 3 minutes. Back then it might have been 10, 20 minutes. They played this song.
It'd be like when the wives said their verse, he was like,
So that was the hook. So that was the hook. Like the hook was.
He's trying to like.
The hook was Saul has 1,000 and David has 10,000. That's the hook of the song.
He's trying to like you gotta nod your head. You gotta show that you're having a good time. Yeah, it's like I like this song. Hey, like David is it's 10.
That is truly.
You don't want people to see
awesome.
this is affecting me. Like you don't want people to see this affecting you. You're on the throne now.
It's weird.
Yeah, don't get it out of here. This party's over for me.
And then he's at his palace with his javelin. Saying, "Man, this guy's gonna take the kingdom.
Yeah.
He's gonna take it. This guy's gonna do it. He already got the gals.
He knows.
He knows what's up.
Man.
He's like he's winning too much. You gotta talk country. Them gals into him already. It's over. The kingdom's gone.
Especially if you look at that time period. If you look at the point of view from the time of David, like he said, he gave him David his guard, his.
Yeah. He already has the guard, the robes. His son loves him. The court loves him. The people love him.
He's seeing everybody slowly.
Available women.
Yeah, listen. The thing is this. He got everybody on his side without doing the optic game.
Yeah.
He's doing it all the right way. He's like, dude, I didn't sit back and kiss ass and do these deals and smile and do all these angles. And this guy just wake up, fought Goliath. How come I didn't take Goliath? Damn, man.
I want to go.
That's a good point. He was sitting there.
I could have did this. I could have just eliminated this whole situation.
You don't think Saul?
Don't forget, 40 days. Nobody stepped up to fight Goliath.
In 4 days, you have time to
And the Philistines were clowning. Listen, don't forget, Goliath was clowning these guys for 40 days. 40 days, they were chomping and talking and clowning the Jews out.
So Saul even took him more carnal, where David made him question the old man.
Yes.
He offered up a bounty for somebody else to do that.
Yeah. But the question was on him. Don't forget, he promised no taxes, no new taxes, and my daughter. David didn't even get his daughter yet. David didn't even get his daughter yet. That's another blow, a smack in the face.
Made me wait all day.
David was supposed to get his firstborn daughter. It didn't happen. Let's go say that later. Let's keep going.
Line 194. Now when the king heard them singing thus, and that he had himself the smallest share in their commendations,
that's messed up,
and the greater number, the 10,000s, were ascribed to the young man.
Then it's young versus old. I'm the old nigga in the club. I'm the old guy in the club now. I can't compete with these young dogs out here getting it in. It's over. I got a midlife crisis going on here now.
That's not good. This is a bad time for
That's
Saul.
what I'm saying.
Midlife crisis.
It's midlife crisis going on. That's a real thing.
And remember his boy said,
the guys want to get these sports cars when they're like 45. What are you doing,
Yeah.
Why are you getting a two-seater, bro? What's your issue?
You got to do it.
You want your cherry red two-seater with convertible top down? Yeah, I'm still doing it. I still got it.
Yeah.
You want to get the hair color again? And go silver fox. You got the black and little salt and pepper going on here. Get out of here, bro.
Gotta get the goatee.
You back in the gym. Let's keep going now. This is Saul. Keep reading.
And when he considered with himself that there was nothing more wanting to David, after such a mighty applause, but the kingdom, he began to be afraid and suspicious.
Because what it shows you is his carnal mindset. Yeah. He thinks the kingdom is about applause. He thought the kingdom was about the people liking you. If the people like you, then that's the kingdom. He never understood and accepted that the kingdom was about honoring the Most High and being the spiritual leader of the people. He understood it was about optics, and if people like you, he was all about those polls. Yeah. Esau always conducts those polls.
Approval ratings.
Approval ratings. Biden is in the 30s. I don't know, 30s, 40s. I don't know what the hell it is. He's probably in the 30s or 40s.
Midterms.
Exactly. So the point of this, he's about approval ratings when David was about just honor and doing the right thing in the Most High's name. And this is why he was so angry. Read on.
Line 195. Accordingly, he removed him from the station he was in before.
He was demoted. And this is after he did the javelin.
Because he was looking good.
Exactly. I gotta knock on a couple pegs. He's right next. You know what the problem is? He's right next to me. So if he's right next to me, people can see the difference easily.
Yeah, that's true.
They can see that I'm not as on point as he is.
That's true.
So I gotta keep him away so I don't look bad.
That's true.
Right.
It's still optics.
Wow.
Read on. Saul was no dummy. Saul was no dummy. He understood crowd manipulation.
Yeah.
He understood optics.
He was
a very good politician.
Yeah.
Read on.
For he was his armor bearer, which out of fear seemed to him much too near a station for him.
Paranoid.
Yep. Now he's paranoid. He thinks he can sit back here, probably poison him, do some underhand dirty stuff. Now he's a threat.
Evil suspicion.
Yep. Read on.
And so he made him captain over 1,000, and bestowed on him a post better indeed in itself, more for his own security.
Because what he thought, listen, it was a demotion in Saul's eyes. But what he did...
In David's eyes, right?
No. In Saul's eyes, it was a demotion. But in David's eyes, and logically, it's an opportunity. Now I can win the army more. Now I can win the army. Listen, I've already got the people on my side. Now I got the army on my side. Back in the day, I was reading a while ago about Rome. You couldn't be... you couldn't even be in a position of being a Caesar unless you were a Roman general.
Wow.
You had to sit back here and lead your men and army before you would even be in a position that's needed in order to even be that much more secure in the throne.
Wow.
But he's so sick because the thing is, in his eyes, optically, he's right next to me. He could try to kill me, or everybody's going to associate David with the king.
So
it's a matter of time where David's going to be the king anyway because he's right next to the king.
This point? So when you feel like in your life that you're being demoted, and you weren't wrong, if you're not wrong, if you feel like you're in this situation, you're stuck in this rut forever, you're in these scenarios that are unfair, you're in unfair circumstances, the Most High can make a poor man rich upon a what? Upon a study. You can't look at your situation and be like, this isn't fair, because you don't know if the Most High is working something out and putting something in your favor, but it doesn't temporarily seem like it's the best position for you right now.
All facts. All facts, because it looks like a demotion, but it was the best thing that
long down the line.
Yeah, he won. You win it on, you earn it on the battlefield. How did Joshua get to the seat that he was in? He earned it against Amalek right after they crossed the Nile. He earned the right to be the number 2 man to Moses because of how valiant in war he was. You earn it day to day with the body. That's how you earn the respect of the men. And he gave him that opportunity out of his paranoia and fear. So the Most High is working it in his favor regardless. You just got to stay in order.
So we're
even with us. Even though it might look like a slight or something jacked up's happening to me for doing the right thing, the Most High is putting you in a spot to gain more glory. And that's how you have to look at it.
Down the line.
Down the line. Or even at that particular point.
Yeah.
It's a glorious opportunity to keep doing the Most High in different arenas. Serving him in different arenas.
I remember years living on like the sky's falling.
Yeah.
I remember the sky was falling for years. That's a private conversation.
Yes.
But I remember the dynamic.
The sky was falling for a long
the dynamic of completely losing everything every day. You know what I'm talking about.
That sky was falling. The earth was crumbling from beneath us.
Yes.
Like, it was always like this.
We're gonna lose it all every month.
If you don't give 1,000%.
If you don't do this, everything's gonna end. Your kids gonna be in the streets. All your life work is gone down the drain. Yep. That was a real feeling, and it happened, and it lasted for years. Yep. But the Most High, in those uncomfortable conditions,
forged something.
He makes you like, if I'm gonna take an L, it's gonna be for the right reasons. I'm gonna take an L the right way. I don't want to live with it like, man. Yes, sir.
No, I would say, wouldn't that be like showing the Most High right now? Because being in that position makes many men question the fact that is this really what I believed in and convinced and dedicated myself.
Exactly.
And that's where the glory comes from. The glory comes from enduring it. That is literally where the scripture talks about gaining treasures in heaven.
Yeah.
And in the other verse where it says being rich in good works.
Exactly.
How you handle these difficult situations puts us in a position to be rich in works, which justifies our position down the line.
And when you deal with the sisterhood element and the marriage element,
same thing.
Going through all the black days and all the hard days, all the time period where there was these voids and these, I guess, what they call them, valleys?
Peaks and valleys, yes.
Peaks and valleys. You're going through all these valleys and these voids. Just to we got past all the dark days and we're still together up.
Mm-hmm.
That person, that woman's invaluable. No that brother is invaluable. Everything that sister's invested in the body through the hard times is invaluable because you couldn't pay a person to be that way. This goes past money and past gifts and past nice things people say. Go ahead.
Right. I said when it's bleak. When it's bleak. It's unwinnable to come out of it. Not just that you went through it, but to continue to keep a positive mindset afterwards. The fact I can just erase it, it's an experience, but I didn't let it affect me.
And that's why Hebrews 13:4 says marriage is honorable in all. Mm-hmm. It's the fighting and the maintaining of that bond which is honorable.
That's crazy.
It's the fight it takes to keep the marriage is what's honorable. It's not just two people in the same room slamming pots and pans and closing cabinets all loud. Clank, clank. Here's your dinner. It's nuked like a mug. You know, it's all gooey now. And it's all like gummy because it's all microwaved up.
Dysfunction. Dysfunction. If you can deal with me at my worst, you can have me at my best.
Oh my!
It's not that.
Those Jake memes, Zach. You can't take me at my worst. Oh my gosh.
I lost my job. Are you
those are coming from the ones that don't have husbands.
Exactly.
By the way,
if you're with me when I didn't have no bread, I didn't have no job,
yep.
I didn't have no time, I didn't have no rank, and you're still here.
Yeah.
Listen,
that's honorable. It's the fact that you weathered through it, and you can still grow together. Yeah. That's honorable. That's what the Most High is seeing. That's the glory.
That's how you win the love of the Most High.
That's the point.
So
can you endure the difficulties?
And so when you look at David didn't let Saul change him. Because David was supposed to...
That was the definition of integrity. Yeah. This is why the Most High said he was a man after my own heart.
Yeah.
He didn't let these perceived knocks at him for doing the right thing make him want to stop doing the right thing. Because people always, I've heard this 1,000 times, the squeaky wheel gets the most oil.
Yep.
What good is sitting back here doing all these good works when it doesn't get rewarded or acknowledged or spoken of?
Yeah.
It makes a person question what's the value of doing good works. And it makes people start to condition themselves to think, let me do negative works to get a better response back. At least I'm getting attention. That people start to feed when they're looking for an acknowledgement for good works. David's doing good works and is not getting acknowledged for it.
I gotta pull one scripture.
Can you say something?
Yeah, of course.
I always look at when it says where I find it a law wherever there's good, evil is present. Yeah. I always flip it because it's the same concept. Yes. Wherever there's evil, good is present. Because it's as if that happens to put you in a circumstance and position to test your integrity, see where you're going to come out of. That's why not having is definitely difficult, but then to have and then for it to be taken away, and you perceivably didn't do nothing wrong, you know you're checking and making sure, okay, no, I've been on it.
Yep. Everything you're saying is right.
Yeah. Revelation 3:11.
We're still not getting through this class today.
We're gonna get through it.
No, it's just good stuff. Nobody's tripping.
We get that chapter 1.
We're not getting it. It's almost like 12 o'clock, man.
I know.
It's like for the last few weeks, we can't get past 2 chapters, bro. It's insane.
This is a good book.
We're like really like taking a long time, but it's good. We're squeezing every morsel out of this book.
Come around the mountain.
Let's keep going.
Revelation 3:11.
Revelations chapter 3 and verse 11. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast.
Hold fast to what you got. Mm-hmm. Too many of our people, Israel and our nation in general, we rescind and we really give permission and we let go of things. We really are compliant in the relinquishing of blessings the Most High gives us.
Yeah.
We throw our houses away. We throw our ribs away. We throw our health away. We throw our brotherhood away. We throw our opportunities away. Read.
That no man take thy crown.
That no man does what?
Take thy crown.
It shouldn't be another person's conduct that makes you relinquish your relationship with the Father.
Yes.
Another man should not define your love for the Most High.
That means your surroundings. Your surroundings shouldn't affect your love for the Most High. Having your children, losing your children, having ribs, losing ribs,
exactly.
Having cars, not having cars, having the things you want versus not having things you want shouldn't change your love for the Heavenly Father. But too many times, our integrity and our desire is based on what we have. What's tangible.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Read on.
Him that overcometh.
Him that overcome the impulse to give in, to capitulate, to give up, because the goal of what is Putin doing right now? He's slowly destroying Ukraine. You know what he's doing? He wants them to say we surrender.
Yeah.
That's just the best game in the world.
Yes.
Listen.
No mas.
Listen. If you make them say we surrender, then guess what? I gotta waste more money. I'm gonna waste all my weapons, and I have to look like the bad guy. They surrender to me. I'm not the bad guy.
Yep.
Read on.
Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power.
Man,
if you can get through what you're going through, you can get through the loss.
And you can finish the path. If you can finish, it's just not just like one battle you finish. Can you finish the race?
The succession, yeah.
Can you finish the race with a positive outlook versus letting circumstances break you and turn you cold and turn you bitter? can you finish the race with a positive outlook?
It's easy for
with
David.
A positive conscience.
It was easy there for David to say, the Most High promised me a crown.
Yep. There's no. Why?
I got it here.
Yep.
And now guess what? This guy's unrightfully in this throne position, and the Most High didn't defend me. He did not defend me.
So what's the benefit of
easy
doing?
To say that.
And then the next thought is, what's the benefit of doing righteousness?
Yeah.
What is the benefit of serving the Most High if the people that are the most on point have to suffer the most? And this is why Psalm 73 was so potent, because David almost slipped in this situation. The only thing that grounded him was when he saw the sanctuary of the Most High, and he understood that person's time, he was on thin ice, and he was about to fall. And the truth is, while this person is about to fall, I have to sit back here and still prove to the Most High that I am sincere with him when things are going good or when things are going bad. Yes, I?
Definition of crown.
Okay.
It says honor and dignity.
And honor, dignity, it talks about all that in the New Testament. About the blessings, the honor, the kingdom comes to the person who finishes. Keep going, I'm sorry.
And he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my power.
I will write upon him the name of my power. What is that really saying? You truly represented Christ. That's the most glory we can all have. The highest level of glory is not just the crown, the kingdom, and the benefits. The highest reward we can get is that the Most High in Christ certifies that you stood up for me. You stood up for the Most High. That means more than anything.
Yep.
The fact that you know within your heart of hearts that you did it for the Most High and no one can convince you otherwise, because your actions and your works validate and prove that. That your love for the Father, your love for your husband, your love for your family, your love for your camp. That's the greatest. That's like what Whitney Houston says. That's
the greatest love of all. Come on, man.
I hate to say
you know that was coming at. Was coming at.
It's the greatest love of all. I don't want to do that.
That was. Listen, I'm not even gonna say it. Kinda.
It's the greatest. It's the greatest thing you can do.
Yep.
Is go through your black days and your dark days. It seemingly that things are unfair.
Yep.
You know someone really loves the Most High when things do appear unfair.
Yeah, and you still push forward.
That's it.
But listen, this kind of are you done with that verse?
I'm done.
Let's go back to the Josephus paragraph 2. Did we finish paragraph 1?
The end of paragraph 1.
Okay, let's finish paragraph 1.
The end of paragraph 1, page 166.
So it's Josephus. Once again, it's book 6, chapter 10, paragraph 1. The end of it. You know.
Yeah. But as he thought, more for his own security, for he had a mind to send him against the enemy and into battles, as hoping he would be slain in such dangerous conflicts.
He was hoping that this guy get murked out the way so he can continue his reign.
How'd that battle go, man? How'd that battle go? Was it pretty bad?
Yeah, he's finding out.
Is David okay?
Listen, well, all that matters is that Israel won. Oh, Israel won. That's good. You got to sit back here and play the political answer. Oh, there any casualties? That's what you got to say. Were we victorious? Yes. Most High, all praise to the Most High. Were there any casualties? Okay, no casualties. Wow. Well, what happened? David was doing great. He led in kills, and he was phenomenal. All praise to the Most High. You know, read his Bible, said that. You're like, damn, man, this guy keeps getting W's. But listen,
that's crazy.
Read paragraph 2 though.
That's dirtbaggish, huh?
It's dirtbag, huh?
Paragraph 2, line 196.
That's crazy, bro.
Yep.
But David had the Most High going along with him whithersoever he went.
But the question is this: What came first, the chicken or the egg? Was the Most High there for him, or did he earn the Most High's presence to be there for him? That's a good question. He had to earn it. His outlook earned being there for him whithersoever he went. If you want the Most High to protect you, your outlook has to line up with your works.
He was working from his youth in the field of sheep.
But it was all he was working. But you know what the crazy thing is? His outlook was pure.
Right.
From his youth. When he sat back, listen, we talked about it weeks ago. Who in the hell in their right mind would fight and wrestle and kill a bear for one sheep?
Because
like, have that little nigga, man. You can have it. You can have a little damn sheep. Cool. He got caught slipping. Oh no! I told him not to go right. We was all going left. Oh no!
Hey, Dad.
You know that's what it is. Oh, you know what? I kept trying to pull him. He just didn't listen, Dad. The bear snatched him up and ran off. What was I gonna do? He sat back here, full of courage, went after this dude. You think this bear's he took the sheep from me. I'm gonna go home now. Listen, that bear hasn't eaten all week.
That
bear had to have it. You see those damn Discovery Channel scenarios where that lion, he was hungry. That dude was hungry. He hasn't eaten meat in weeks. He sits back here. He gets the animal. He's not letting it go. He is not letting it go. So for David to pry this damn sheep out of his mouth,
it's like all he heard was my father's instruction: tend to these sheep. Don't lose any.
And that's it. And listen. And you know, Dad, I didn't really mean to you to kill a bear. Bro. You didn't do that. You didn't have to kill a lion, bro. I mean, we can go to the market and get another sheep. It's gonna be all right.
It stands back a little bit. It's cool.
It's cool, man. But you know what? All that pure outlook is what got him there. But it's still, we read it, but it's easier said than done. You're crowned king. Then you go work for this guy that's a dirtbag, and you really see what kind of man he is behind closed doors. Everybody else loves him, but you see what he really is. He's crazy and deranged, throwing javelins at you, and you have to peacefully work with this person still. And I'm out here fighting for the nation, for this king that wants to kill me. You don't think he had the possibility of thinking paranoid thoughts? Maybe this guy might want to bring some friendly fire on me. He might hire some damn guy to shoot me. Not shoot, obviously, but kill me.
Yeah.
He had to constantly battle those thoughts.
Khan, do I listen? Who gave me this plate? Listen? Is there any poison in this plate?
That's a real thing, bro.
That's a real damn thing. Then that's not out the realm of like. That's not out the realm of like what a regular person's gonna think. Right. They might try to sit back here and put me in a line of fire, like he eventually did Uriah. Right. He can sit back here and poison me. Right. He can sit back here and send me on some really whack mission. That it's just gonna be me alone. You ever saw Platoon? How they did him dirty in Platoon? Same type of situation. This guy was moving. He left without the number 2 captain there, and they had him set up to die. Anyway. All I'm saying is having mortal thoughts is very easy in a situation like this, and he had enough positive outlook to do his job, keep his head down, and the Most High was with him for that reason. He earned that. It wasn't just, David was the anointed, and he was going to sit back here and get the Most High's blessing regardless. You know that's wrong, because when David went off later on, he got immediately stung. Multiple times. So if you know that's the case, then he earned the Most High protecting him at this time. He earned it. That's all I'm saying. You get the protection when you handle the mistreatment properly. Can you, and I say mistreatment, can each and every one of us have a perceived mistreatment? Because what David went through was mistreatment. Right. What we go through is perceived mistreatment. I'm not going to act like what we're going through is the trials of David. Bullshit. You're going through a perceived mistreatment. But can you take a perceived mistreatment and take this mindset from a perceived mistreatment and have a pure consciousness towards the Most High, even though your perception, you perceive you're being done wrong? There's no real proof.
That's a hell of a battle, like.
Good.
Because to have your mind completely on the conscious of the Most High,
good,
in the midst of it,
good.
That don't happen on day by day. Man.
And that's why he was a man after the Most High's heart. And then another response to that is, many people don't have the heart of the Most High.
How do you know?
That's the contrary version. For it to be said he had a heart of the Most High, that means most men don't. Concerned with what happens to them. Right. And less about pleasing the Most High and being in order.
Being consumed, yeah.
But let's keep going. So the Most High was with him wherever he went because of his conduct and because of what he did right.
Paragraph 2 again. But David had the Most High going along with him whithersoever he went.
That's a great verse, a great statement. Read on.
And accordingly, he greatly prospered in his undertakings, and it was visible that he had mighty success.
Everybody could see the Spirit was with him. Everybody could see everything was working right in his favor.
Because he maintained the formula he got that made him successful with Christ.
Yep, from his youth.
He didn't deviate. Now, I don't know, I want to say that we all kind of, in the beginning of the truth, have a positive zeal for the Father, but it really is about how long do you protect it.
We're going to let this go to the next verse.
How long do you protect that positive zeal we have? David maintained his zeal.
Yep. So, let's go back to 1 Samuel, chapter 18, and verse 14 again. 14 again.
1 Samuel, chapter 18, and verse 14. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him.
What that means is Saul created scenarios to get a reaction out of him.
Yeah, that's true.
If Saul is able to pick up that he's behaving himself the right way, that means he's like, man, I set this up to get an effect. Yeah. And I didn't get the effect that I was trying to muster and conjure from making these policies go against David.
That's what Edomites do. Edomites set you in the worst possible scenario and say, look, they're criminals.
Yes.
They're criminals. They're all on top. They're living on top of each other.
There's that element over there.
And there's nothing but pawn shops and gun stores and liquor stores.
That they put up. And ain't black people owning these pawn shops.
All in the area, and look what they're doing. So look at those people.
Yes.
I told you they're animals. That's the amount of Edomites. Just saying.
I just had a scripture that kind of showed the events that were happening, how the Most High was working Saul and David.
Go for it.
It's Luke 14:11.
Okay.
For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. So you could see the humbling of David, and you could see the Most High exalting him. And that's what he was seeing. That was like, snap. Okay, he's acting right, and the Most High is working with him.
And I can't control this train. I can't stop this momentum. He's doing everything in his power to stop that momentum. To I try to set scenarios up to bring out the worst of you. I want the world to see the worst of you. I'm waiting for David to act out of order.
Yeah.
So it makes me look good, and I have a reason to make him punish him and to ostracize him. Yep. But every step of the way, he takes it right. And then Saul's like, is this guy? You know what Saul's asking himself? Is this guy a master strategist, or is he just a pure-minded guy?
Right.
Because that's where his mind is at. This guy is really a wise guy, or this guy is just a pure heart, and he has mastered the ability to see the good in things. Anyway, continue.
Verse 16. But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them.
And this is what's crazy. All of these devices he was setting up, putting him in these officers of 1,000. What he did was what Saul never had. He never had the northern kingdom and southern kingdom love him. Listen, when Saul made his moves, so it really at this time it was really Judah and the rest of the tribe. It was one tribe in Judah, and it was the 11 messing with Saul, northern kingdom. The kingdom was divided in that direction. David was able to sit back here and unify both tribes or both kingdoms. Saul couldn't even do that. Because even when you're sitting back here reading in the earlier versions of Samuel, you always read what? Israel, and then Israel had these many warriors, and Judah had 30,000 men. Why was it spoken of in those two different differentialities?
They weren't united.
They weren't united. David won. If it be a peace with all men. David won the congregation act, the northern and southern kingdom, because he sat back. His disposition was magnetic. How he carried himself was everybody gravitated to him. So let's keep going.
Verse 17. And Saul said to David, Behold my elder daughter, Merab. Her will I give thee to wife.
First of all, he was supposed to give him the wife because that was the deal for him taking out Goliath. Read on.
Only be thou valiant for me.
Oh, so now I got to do some more things to see if I can get the prize I was supposed to get a month ago? Nation.
You promised a promise?
That's my point. But you don't think David's like, this dude's full of crap. He promised me her when I beat Goliath.
Yeah, that's kind of a
now you want to sit back here and say, okay, I'm gonna give you my daughter again if you fight some more damn giants.
Come on, bro.
That's not fair. He's playing games, and he has to sit back here and take this obvious game plan.
He's lobotoming him.
Yes, he is. He's getting hustled, and he got to take this the right way. Read on.
And fight the Lord.
This is a bad deal. He
He's
could
getting
have said,
screwed.
I'm not going to do that, bro. I'm not going to do it.
She's already mine.
She's already mine, bro. How about that?
Kill this man. He's rebelling against the king.
There you go.
Kill him. Now you got a mouth on you. You're rebellious. You're not logging into
He was
the
hoping
king.
for that.
I know that. He was hoping that he's trying to keep it too real.
Mm-hmm.
So let's keep going.
And fight the Lord's battles.
Now it's about fighting the Lord's battles, huh? If you want my daughter, you got to keep fighting the Lord's battles.
Okay.
Read on.
For Saul said, "Let not mine hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon
He's
him."
like, I got to still keep these optics right. I can't be the guy that kills him. Because if I do it, I look like the bad guy, and I lose the people. So I got to put him in a real precarious, jacked up situation to make him look like, for him to fall in battle. Read on.
And David said unto Saul, "Who am I? And what is my life? Or my father's family in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king?"
And so he's still being humble, saying, "Man, I'm nobody. I didn't come from a rich family. I didn't have bread. I didn't sit back here and have all these riches. I don't deserve to sit back and take on that position of being a son-in-law to the king." Read on.
And it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David.
So now, there was, listen, Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David because of what he did to Goliath. Right? Read on.
That she was given unto Adriel and
The Maholiathite.
And the Maholiathite to wife.
So he sat back here, promised her to David, and then gave him some other cat out. So you don't see this as some dirtbag stuff, He wants him to keep fighting for him. He wants him to be valiant for the king. And then he sits back and reneges on the promise he was supposed to get. Read on.
And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David.
And the thing is, and you know, and this is a good test. It's a really good test because it shows if David's motivation was his daughter, the changing of him not getting her would have broken.
Yep.
So that wasn't his motivation.
Yep.
His motivation was service.
So what he's saying is, whether I get your daughter or not, no, I'm not on some royal king level. It's cool. I want to serve the Most High. But but a carnal person was, I am royalty. A carnal person was, I'm the king of Hebron right now.
Yeah.
He was.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have sat back and said, "Man, I'm kingship anyway."
He's a superstar.
But everything's working out his way. And with everything working out his way, he still stayed humble. And even when he was humble, he took the girl from him to get a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
He gave her to somebody else so he could pop off at the mouth, so he can react. He was getting goaded. He was getting goaded and pricked to see how he react to these scenarios. And he never took the cheese, so to speak.
Yeah.
He never sat back.
He doubled it. He didn't give it to him when he had killed Goliath.
Yep.
And then it says, but it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to him. He did put the work in.
Yeah.
So he reneged here and then reneged here. It was like a double.
Yeah, but
that's dirty.
But it's double. Then he sits back here. He finds out that his second daughter is into him. Then he gives him this impossible, this suicide mission to take out the Philistines. So I got to keep being valiant in war. Now you got to sit back and go on this suicide mission to get me 100 foreskins of the damn Philistines.
And a person that's underdeveloped spiritually will think, how long can I keep doing this? How long can I keep winning?
And you know what I'm going to say? You know what the person does at that point? Now they start playing politics. Because when you get a person that's over you that's playing a political game, then your response is to be, you know what? I'm playing the political game. Yeah. I'll play the game with you.
Fight,
it's hard to sit back here and stay spiritual and be honorable when everything around you is about playing games and politics and side angles and psychological warfare.
Yeah.
Everybody's hustling. You become a hustler.
And that's why you have to his ability to stay a sheep and a lamb and pure of heart through all of these side-winding angles is very, very difficult. Yes,
I had a precept on Saul's mindset in this circumstance.
Let's go. Let's keep going. I know you got it. We're at 12 o'clock. We haven't gotten one verse in, one chapter in. Let's go. Let's keep going.
And they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him.
See, everything was about breaking him. So okay, you want listen. First of all, he was okay with taking it first. So now, okay, I'm gonna give him the second, and I'm gonna do him dirty. The first one was to be a snare too. Taking the first one from him was to snare him, get him angry, get him to react the wrong way. Okay, now I'm gonna give him the second one, but I'm gonna have him doing a possible mission to get him. Some John Wick stuff out. That's what he was saying. You want to get out the game, John Wick? Kill all of my competition. Then you can get out the game. Okay. And he goes and does it, huh? It's the same damn John Wick situation, huh? Read on.
And that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, Thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of the twain.
And we're gonna be son-in-law. You're gonna be my son now. Even though I just javelined you up like a couple weeks ago, twice. Read on. Now we're family. Get out of here, bro. Read on.
Verse 22. And Saul commanded his servants, saying, Commune with David secretly, and say, Behold, the king hath delight in thee.
So first of all, Saul didn't even tell him one-on-one. He didn't say man to man, this is what I want you to do. He said, man, you're going to be my son. Then he walked off and said, listen, man, y'all tell him what I want. You couldn't even tell him straight up what you wanted, huh? It was all dirtbag stuff.
Sideways.
Everything was sideways, huh? You know, people can't come straight up and tell you because it's negative. And, you know, when a person can't just talk to you straight up, it's because there's a lot of negative in them that keeps them from sitting back here and being straight up. So now he sits back here, Saul, talks to his servants, and gives a secondary message to David. Read on.
And all his servants love thee. Now therefore, be the king's son-in-law. And Saul's servants spake those words in the ears of David. And David said, Seemeth it to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed?
He's like, man, I don't know why you're making it like this is a big thing. I'm not worthy of this honor. He still had that humble mindset to him. Read on.
And the servants of Saul told him, saying, On this manner spake David.
And also this, David was also concerned that he couldn't pay for it. I can't pay this dowry for this woman, the king's dowry. I'm a damn shepherd boy. I can't pay this bread out for this marriage to work. Read on.
And Saul said, Thus shall you say to David, The king desireth not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines.
100 of these damn warriors, bro. 100 warriors.
They don't fight for their foreskin. Not for this give it up. Oh, you can have it. I want you to get married. Here's a wedding present. They're not gonna sit here and let
you. They're gonna fight for their foreskin.
They're gonna fight for it, huh? Listen,
with all their might, huh?
That's the last thing. Listen.
All of their desires.
You can stab their arm. You can stab them. You can shoot them with an arrow. They're gonna take that. They're not gonna let you just have them.
You would think. Listen, I think the purpose was to kill them. I think that's what it was. Oh my goodness. So yes, that answer is correct. That answer is correct. So now we're dealing with this foreskin dilemma. Kill 100 dudes and take their junk stuff off, and then bring them back. Read on.
To be avenged of the king's enemies.
To be avenged of the king's enemies. Come on, okay, that means you have to go to their territory.
Yeah.
Listen, most of the time we fought when they went into our turf. That's when the war started. You got to go into their land and take out 100 of them boys out.
Suicide mission, man.
That's suicide. That's John Wick stuff, Hey, let's go. What are you gonna do? You gotta go in right after them and go take them, What you gonna do? You gonna be all cool about it and stuff, You gotta go to their crib and take them down, And these guys are war vets, Anyway, 100 foreskins.
You can have it.
That's the job. Then you can have it. Right? then you've earned her, my son. Come on. But don't you think in the back of his mind, I already beat Goliath.
What kind of request?
You told me I can have her then. The first one that you took from me. Read on, man.
But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines.
Of course.
And when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went.
I'm going to say this. The beauty is in choosing to see the good in what's happening. Because if you sit back here and go, this is in, I'm just going to read it real quick. It's in Antiquities of the Jews, book 6, chapter 8, paragraph 1. It's towards the bottom. It said, now as soon as his father had sent for David, and he was come, he appeared to be of yellow complexion, yellow bone, and of sharp sight. He was mentally keen. So my point is that he wasn't just this all shucks guy. He wasn't an idiot. He was keen enough to see that Saul was playing games with him. Yeah. He was keen enough to see that he was being flim-flammed at. And he was able to see it and still choose to take the honorable position. That's what made him great. He wasn't just some gullible cat that was just mentally not acute to see what was happening to him. He knew exactly what was happening to him and still chose to see the purity in what the Most High was putting him through. This is what made him great. This is what made him great. He knew exactly what was happening. Saul wants me to go on a damn suicide mission. If this is what pleased the king, this is what pleased the king. Because deep down, I know the Most High is with me. So it doesn't matter what requirement is being asked of me. If the Most High is with me, I can get it done. Phenomenal. Read on.
Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men.
He says, for this, I'm going to do 200 to show him there's no hard feelings and I'm okay with what was asked of me. 200, you got to wipe them out with a handful of men? Read on.
And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full tale to the king.
So I'm going to sit back and explain how it happened to. So you don't think I'm lying about it. I'm going to give you blow for blow scenarios so you realize this is all real and true. Read on.
That he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife.
He couldn't stop it. Read on.
And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet the more afraid of David.
He's like, nothing that I do is going to stop this guy from rising up. I can't stop him. I can't break him. No matter what I ask, he gets it done with a smile. And with positivity. With humility. Read on.
And Saul became David's enemy continually. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass, after they went forth, that David to Saul, so that his name was much set by.
So he's like, man, this guy acted with more wisdom and discipline and consistency than all of Saul's servants. He earned the respect of the people. The thing is this, don't forget, when Saul was chosen, why was Saul chosen to be king? Because he was the biggest and strongest of the group. Why was David chosen? Now listen, the Most High knew what was inside of him before he actually executed the work. But once he got the position, he earned the respect of everybody in the nation. Just like who did in the same book? The same book. Who else earned the respect of the nation?
Christ.
Samuel earned the respect of the people the same damn way. His consistency, his dedication, his honor. He earned the respect.
Oh, it's the same dynamic. Okay.
Same that. This is what the Most High wants out of his leaders. You got to earn the respect, man. Day to day, brick for brick, dedication, sacrifice. That's the right way it's earned. So we're in this situation. He was justified to get uplifted and put to that position. And everything that was done to him, he stayed positive and everything worked out. Okay. Read on.
Chapter 19, verse 1.
No. Matter of fact, let's continue in Josephus, where he left off. Nagaha.
Yes, sir.
Horiah. It's that time, bro. We keep going.
We're in paragraph 2, page 166. Antiquities of the Jews, book 6, chapter 10, paragraph 2.
Yep, read that.
But David had the Most High going along with him whithersoever he went, and accordingly that he had mighty success, insomuch that Saul's daughter, who was still a virgin, fell in love with him, and her affection so far prevailed over her that it could not be concealed. And her father became acquainted with it. Now Saul heard this gladly, as intending to make use of it for a snare against David. And he hoped that it would prove the cause of destruction and of hazard to him. So he told those that informed him of his daughter's affection that he would willingly give David the virgin in marriage, and said, I engage myself to marry my daughter to him if he will bring me 600 heads of my enemies.
This is where it gets kind of off.
Yeah.
So we're going to stick with the scriptures. The scriptures said 104 skins, so we're not dealing with 600 heads. Read on.
Line 198. Supposing that when a reward so ample was proposed to him, and when he should aim to get him great glory by undertaking a thing so dangerous and incredible, he would immediately set about it, and so perish by the Philistines.
John Wick scenarios, Read on.
And my designs about him will succeed finally to my mind, for I shall be freed from him, and get him slain, not by myself, but by another man.
God.
So he gave order to his servants to try how David would relish this proposal.
Still a setup. How's he going to accept this?
So he's trying to. So he has the servants drop the request to see what he does. Read on.
To try how David would relish this proposal of marrying the damsel. Accordingly, they began to speak thus to him. The king Saul loved him, as well as did all the people, and that he was desirous of his affinity by the marriage of this damsel. To which he gave this answer: Seemeth it to you a light thing to be made the king's son-in-law? It does not seem so to me, especially when I am one of the family that is low.
Wow.
And without any glory or honor.
No entitlement. No entitlement.
Yep. Exactly. Read on.
Now when Saul was informed by his servants what answer David made, he said, Tell him that I do not want any money nor dowry from him, which would be rather to set my daughter to sale than to give her in marriage.
But he took the dowry for that first one. How much Goliath, when he promised that whoever killed Goliath would get the daughter.
He's just big time in David.
I know that, but it's fluff talk. It's BS talk, and he has to push through it and stay positive. Read on.
He was also, I'm just sorry, Saul misinterpreted David's intentions. In the beginning of line 198, he said, and when he should aim to get him great glory. He thought David was doing it for himself.
That's how he was doing it.
That was his mindset.
Like Dariat says, people talk and they communicate and they project how they look at things on how versus how the situations really are. Right. If I'm looking at a person a certain way, normally I'm projecting how I will look at that person's situation versus how they're really looking at the situation. Right. So Saul is projecting on how he would look at it.
Right.
Yeah. Read on.
And all other kinds of virtue, of which he saw David was possessed, and that his desire was to receive of him on account of his marrying his daughter, neither gold nor silver, nor that he should bring such wealth out of his father's house, but only some revenge on the Philistines, and indeed 600 of their heads, than which a more desirable or a more glorious present could not be brought him. And he and that he had much rather obtained this than any of the accustomed dowries for his daughter. That she should be married to a man of that character, and to one who had a testimony as having conquered his enemies.
He's already been doing this the whole time.
Right.
Read on.
Paragraph 3. When these words of Saul were brought to David, he was pleased with them, and supposed that Saul was really desirous of this affinity with him.
And that's the point.
Right.
This is the point. David was mentally keen, but he chose to have that pure, positive disposition.
He had a choice then.
Well, that's the point. That's my point. He wasn't just some gullible fool. He wasn't just some sucker that just did things for the hell of doing things. He sat back here and understood what things could be, and he chose to look at things the way it should be spiritually. That's the only way a man can sustain his spiritual strength, or a woman. You have to choose to see the positive in scenarios. You have to choose to see the spiritual perception of going through something. That's what makes a person more spiritually connected versus being like everybody else who's going to see the worst of a situation and try to get themselves out of it. He was mentally keen. He saw things for what they were, and he chose to see the good in Saul. That's how you remain a step above everyone else spiritually.
That's those hot coals.
Yep, it's hot coals, and that's one thing. But I know this much: being nice to somebody and just hoping that it's gonna piss somebody off ain't enough for me. I have to truly choose to see, because when a person does that, that's the end result to them. But that's not the mindset you have to keep up this mindset, because he's getting constantly jabbed at. This is a constant attack. I can see one jab, but he keeps jabbing. He keeps instigating. He keeps doing them wrong on a consistent basis, and he's still choosing. It is wise, but it's spiritually wise. It's prudent for his life, and it's prudent to maintain his positive outlook towards the Most High.
It's crazy because the battle's real, because you literally see what it is. You gotta take your mind frame to see it how you need to see it, to see it purely.
Even the javelin. Okay, you know what? He threw the javelin once at him. Okay, but you got the javelin again and threw it a second time, man. Now that was beyond just. Oh, he was just angry. Now he's really this guy really wants to kill me.
Yeah.
So I can say, oh man, my bad. I was triple. Something happened.
You woke up
one time. I just threw it.
Oh, man,
when I go and I throw it, and I take it out the wall, and I throw it again. Okay, there's no psyching yourself. Oh, he was just tripping, man.
Yeah.
My mom's playing. She's like, no, you want to kill me, bro. You want to kill me, and I got to work with you tomorrow.
This person.
And I got to go back in the office and deal with you tomorrow. And he found a way to psychologically get past that and still see that Saul's intentions are pure.
He has the spirit of forgiveness.
But you also know how he's no dummy, because later on, Jonathan was one saying, man, no, man, Saul's got your back. He says, listen, man, if Saul's got my back, I'm not going to go to the new moon feast dinner.
Right.
And tell him I'm with my father and family, and see how he reacts. If he reacts negatively, then you're going to notice. It lets you know he knew where Saul's head was at the whole time, but he chose to see the good and stay spiritual. Because that's how you keep your spiritual integrity.
That's true.
Even though somebody is obviously goading you and trying to bring the worst out of you, you have to choose to look at things positive and spiritually. So that's why Scripture says we're fools for Christ.
Yeah.
You got to take the okie doke posture to keep your soul right. If you don't take that okie doke mindset, that spirit, I say okie doke from a worldly perspective. You're taking a sucker move. You're looking at things from a sucker mindset. If you don't, you're gonna beat Jake real soon. If you don't take that mindset,
you're allowing yourselves to be defrauded.
Exactly, and you're purposely saying, I'm gonna choose to look at your purest intentions, knowing damn well I know your intentions are pure.
I'm going to exaggerate your good qualities.
Yes.
And I'm going to minimize your negative
so
qualities.
I can save my spirit. Because ultimately, I got to save my soul every damn day. I got to get up in the morning every day and survive in this realm, in this arena. So I have to do this to save my spirit. It ain't about what I know. What I know doesn't mean nothing. If the Most High's got you in this position over me, then I have to eat this. And there's a lesson I have to get from this until the Most High removes you or removes me. And I don't want to be removed. So I got to keep the right mindset regardless for me to sustain and tread water in this difficult situation. And I like going here because David wasn't some idiot. They said, oh, the king really loves me even though he threw javelins at me. No, he knew damn well this dude had a problem. You don't think David was like, damn, I killed Goliath.
He ain't really
remember David asked the men twice, so what you saying again? What was the reward again? Right. I don't owe anything and I get the king's daughter? Then let's kill this dude right now. Right?
Oh.
So it was a fault. He knew from there that Saul was about false promises.
Oh.
And I can't trust him.
Yeah.
But because what happens when we sit back here and see a person sometimes for what they are? Do you operate that way? Oh, this guy's a sucker. Or do I say, man, you know, there's good in this person. I have to choose to see the good, even though I know there's obvious problems there. You have to choose to overlook the flaws, to maintain, to remove that leaven from you.
Yes.
If you don't do it, you're going to have nothing but leaven inside of you. And he wants to look at everybody that way.
And now I'm guilty before the Lord.
That's the
That's
point.
The end result.
If I don't sit back here and see the good in the person that's obviously bad, then I'm gonna start looking at negative in everybody. Now I have leaven in me. My spirit's corrupt, and it's a matter of time that the dispensation of the gospel is on me now. That's the point. That's what made David great. It wasn't the fact he just loved killing. He just wasn't just a killer man. He was a man killer. And I had swords and blood congealed to my hands, and that's what made David great. He was a warrior.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody wants to say about the warrior. He was a warrior. This. He was. But the intricacies in how he navigated through an obvious negative person is what made him great.
Oh.
Yes, sir?
I'm mistaken. The victories were brought by the Most High. But the Most High was working with them because of those internal qualities.
That's why he got the blessing. That's why the Most High was following him wherever he went.
That's too. The
Wait,
most.
okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. You got it.
No, go ahead.
The Most High will make. He'll make your situations. He'll make your enemies a footstool. It's almost like that. I'll say in church. Every church scripture, I always burn out my mind because I was so tired of being in church. But it's true. He'll turn your enemies into your footstool. That's good.
But what does that mean, though? What is taking your enemies as your footstool? What does that mean, though? Because if my enemies are my footstool, they're only my footstool, which is leverage. It's an opportunity to go higher. Think of a footstool as a stepping stone.
Okay.
Your enemies are your stepping stone if you learn how to spiritually navigate through it. People think, oh yeah, the bad person's going to come and all you got to do is wait and they're going to fall. That's not true. That's not true. Because a negative person can come, and if you sit back and look at things negatively, you're going to be gone. And that negative person is going to still be there wilding out being negative. So that negative person isn't going to be your stepping stone. Because a stepping stone is this negative person is an opportunity for me to grow.
One step closer to the Most High.
If I sit back here and learn how not to let their negative change my integrity, that's how they become my footstool. That's how I can overcome them, because I don't let their negative and their toxic behavior change who I am as a person. That's how I can, because once again, now I'm abounding in long suffering. Now I'm abounding in faith. I'm abounding in love. So if I'm abounding in love, they're my footstool. This scenario in my life has given me an opportunity to grow in love, to grow in patience, to grow in mercy. People look at it as footstool. No, they below me now, sucker. No. That's nothing to do with rising higher or lower than somebody. I'm able to spiritually elevate based upon how I navigate through these toxic people that the Most High brings to me in my life, that I have to face, that I have to face in order for me to grow. Yes, I.
Proverbs 25, 21, and 22.
Drop it, man.
Proverbs chapter 25, verse 21. If thine enemy be hungry, give him bread to eat.
Come.
And if he be thirsty, give him water to drink.
Mm-hmm.
For thou shalt heap coals of fire upon his head.
Of our people.
It's not about Edomites at all.
Let's please not go to India and give them all kinds of bread and food.
Yeah, but it's also talking about to give bread and food. Right. To give bread and food still deals with what? I have to have a positive outlook to give to a person. Right. Listen, we're not operating in these shadow wars. But it's also, we're not operating in these shadow wars. I'm going to play the game with this dude. I'm going to sit back and give him bread knowing I can't stand this guy's guts. That's not
cloak and dagger.
That's not, that cloak and dagger shit is not what this is saying. It's not about playing the game. I've heard that word for generations. I'm going to play the game with this dude. This is not about playing the game. This is about genuinely giving. Come on. And genuinely being straight up and not taking you personal versus saying, yeah, you had that bullshit ass nigga. That's not giving bread and heaps of coal go on a person's back. That's not what this means.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that man's example. That's the coal.
But it's the purity in what you give. It's the sincerity of not letting the toxicity of a person change me.
And he's not thinking about the coal coming on.
Because that's everything in this. That's all we have is our integrity. Right. To show the Most High is our works and our integrity. But the works are defined by your integrity. How much your works are, or how potent your works are, is predicated on your integrity. How pure of your consciousness was involved in the works you brought to the table for the Most High.
And I maintain my mercy.
All that mercy is about mindset. Yes, sir?
I agree with everything that's being brought out. 100% on point. Not a great scripture. But I wanted to say that spiritual navigation is predicated on if you believe. You have to believe in the Most High. You have to believe
no doubt about it.
In His way of doing things, because if you don't, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to say this. We talk about it all the time, man. Based on what you go through, you have to learn to love the Most High. But that is the glory. You don't know the Most High until you suffer. You really don't know the Most High. That's what the Most High is a consuming and important element of serving the Most High. Giving up your power and control is essential to really understanding how the Most High operates. When your back is against the wall, and you know what? There's nothing you can do to maneuver to get out of it but pure faith, pure spiritual optimism. Now you can cleave to Him. When you remove all of your plan B's, B minuses, C's and D's and F's to Z's, all of those, there's no more plans out. It's just this. Now I got to read the hell out of this Bible and believe this damn Bible, or it's nothing else. And that's what the Most High does in each and every one of our lives if we choose to embrace that scenario. There are no way out. Stop giving you those escape hatches. Those escape hatches just feed your weakness versus driving you singularly forward. You got your hand on you.
And it's only then that the scriptures really make sense.
They
start to make sense to where you can't get away from your reality. And what was so fascinating about David is he believed. No matter what he was going through, he believed. I wanted to read this. This is Psalm. It says, the Most High shall hear and afflict them, even he that abated of old. Salah. Because they have no changes. Therefore, they fear not God, or fear not the Most High. He says, he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant. Like we going over Saul breaking all the contracts.
Now Esau, not Esau, but Israel likes to use this on an Edomite, Judite level. But what Jake be breaking covenants all the damn time. The brother that knows the knowledge, that can salute you, be breaking covenants.
You get your
all
word,
the time.
And then you go back and you break your word.
We don't get let down by the white man. We know what they are.
No doubt.
But we sit back here, what hurts is with every day, they break their covenant because they get weak.
We shook hands.
But the covenant is broken because they get weak. Their doubts or their lust get exposed, And when you're interdependent on one another, I'm depending on you being on point. Because if you're not on point, it affects me greatly. When you break covenants, it makes my life that much harder.
Yeah.
Because we are all functioning based upon each and every one of us holding up their brick in their job. Exactly. But keep going what you're saying now.
Verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
I'm going to smile at you. I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. But you know damn well the things he says he's not going to stick to. He's not going to honor the word. His words aren't going to match his conduct. And I got to sit back here every day and work with somebody knowing they're going to tell me one thing and do something opposite the next day.
Can I pull this right here? Am I pulling the scripture? Just say the statement. And this is why looking at Esau and how those things is not healthy for us. Because you have to understand what is the influence that's inside Esau. The Most High says the spirit is not upright within him. Meaning what? His motivations aren't upright. We look at this, the blonde hair and blue eyes, and the fact he's the devil, we got the horns, and he's the devil the Bible speaks. So we get that out.
He's made that way.
We get that out. We get that. But listen, what is his thinking pattern that's allowing him to be so insincere with his brothers? Because at the end of the day, Esau and Jacob are still brothers. We could be Esau and Jacob in a camp, in a household, in a friendship, in a marriage. We can still be Esau and Jacob. Am I sincere and are you insincere? Or am I insincere and this person right here is sincere?
And then, for the sincere person, can I still operate in a sincere fashion when you know the person around you isn't operating at the same pace and effort as you are? Because the crazy thing is, a lot of times we want to establish this superiority.
Right.
I'm on point, you're not. But the crazy thing is, can I be on point? Can I operate the right way? Know the person next to me is not going to stick to their deal, but still be pure of outlook and not let negative break me. That's the challenge. The challenge is about once you get past the laws and the commandments, which are the basic foundation, how much of vomit can you endure without you vomiting? You see that damn Family Guy act? when Brian starts to throw up, this is gross green puke, and then everybody in the room, and then they're like, listen, stop throwing up. The next like, everybody just keeps exchanging throws because they keep seeing the other person throw up.
Right.
And it's this bouncing throw up around everybody. Can you sit back here and see vomit around you and hold your constitution, sustain your strength, and not let the sicknesses drag you down? Can you take their sickness and vomit and create that footstool? Can I rise above it and still keep my integrity? What made David great, he maintained his integrity, his original state, despite the surroundings that were obviously out to get him.
That means somebody's going to have to lose. Because when you have all that vomit, that's when the camp breaks apart.
Yeah.
When all that vomit circling around him, someone has to endure it.
And somebody has to be, and it goes back with being that light, a city on a hill. Is somebody going to be that light despite the darkness? And can we take those type of steps? Can we be the better man, the better woman, the better sister, the better brother, despite what's obviously trying to drag you down?
You can make a point with what you're saying? And this is really about, can I not, last night's class hit the same point, but I cannot let another person dictate my relationship with Christ. It goes back to the same thing.
Yep.
If my husband's that crazy husband, I cannot let my crazy husband, quote unquote,
or I'm gonna say perceived craziness,
or perceived craziness,
because it always, listen. We want to always say the shit we going through is like David and Saul.
Yeah.
No, it ain't.
Yeah.
No, it ain't. But you just have there's an issue with a person that you see every day that brings out your worst. How about that? Because half the time, I'm not trying to attack what you're saying. That a lot of times you want to sit back and say, I'm going through the same battles that Job and David. No, you're not, bro. Those are 144K guys, Zach. Those guys are the top tier of the men in Israel. Ever. We're sitting back here dealing on some petty ass level. We got a shirt that's going to be 144K mentality. That's just hopes and optimism, yo. There is no guarantee, sirs. Anybody, listen, we're about 144,000 of all mankind ever in history, ever.
afraid to wear.
Your hope. No, I'm gonna say this. That's why I said mentality, because what we're trying to teach is for everybody to push for gold. That's the goal. The goal is, can everybody here try to maximize themselves to the greatest of their ability? That's what's taught. That is the quote-unquote mission statement. That's what we're all here to do. I'm not here to sit back here and just barely, almost didn't make it. I don't know. Shit was real bad a little while ago. I don't want to sit back and stumble right at the finish line. I'm so tired. It was just so hard. The sacrifice, it was too much. I almost didn't make it. I fell at the end. And you sit back here before you like this. You cross the line.
Yeah.
Woo! By your fingertip. The goal is to get in strong and pushing forward with more to go, more to give. That's what we're trying to teach and inspire amongst us. But how do you do it? All of these difficult blows that come your way. None of us have strived to death yet. None of us have strived to death. So you think the guys that strive, those are the 144,000 guys. Listen, the guy that sat back here and got hewed and thrown in the damn pot. No, the pots in Maccabees, These guys getting decapitated, all your body parts cut off, and then you're thrown in the pot to be fried? Just because they said I'm not going to eat pork, or I'm taking these moral stances that cost me my life. None of us have gone through that kind of crap. All we're going through is emotions and pride and inconvenience on minor levels. And we can't get over these minor marital issues. We can't get past minor brotherhood issues. We have minor scrapes and battles that taint our entire mindset. Minor aggravations. That's what we deal with. My point is, every one of these minor aggravations that are presented to us is an opportunity to use the lesson. Not necessarily the man or the woman. The lesson is what you overcome is how you use this negative as your footstool.
Exactly.
That's what this is. I'm taking steps forward, and I'm not letting the negative from somebody else destroy me. Because the truth is this. You don't even know. This is why being around the body is so important. You don't know what your issue is till you're around somebody that brings out. Everyone wants to Mark the perfect man. How do you know how perfect you are if you're at the house all goddamn day? Your perfection is based upon how I can work around a body of people that bring out the worst in me. Then you can say you're on the way to be a perfect guy. That's the point.
We're all self-righteous.
Exactly.
We're all self-righteous.
In your story, you're the valiant winner.
Yeah.
You're the king. You're the prince. You're the wise guy.
I determine my narrative. You're always the good person. You determine your own narrative. This is why it's a must that you rescind control and be in a situation where you have to tolerate others, or you have scenarios that you couldn't control in your life that you have to adapt to. I have to adapt to this situation that happened to me. I had no control. I just wake up and get news. Mm-hmm. I wake up and I get a phone call, and my life changes. Yep. I wake up, situations happen, and my life changes. And now, do I still believe? Yeah. The Most High has a perfect way of making sure everybody's gonna live there with what they say they're gonna live. Yep. The Father's fair. That's why we have to keep all the little minor discontents we get amongst each other. That's just perfect. That's just practice. It's really just practice.
It should be practice, because can I rise above this? Can I find spiritual antidotes to overcome this aspect of me, this doubt, this fear, this pride, this desire for control?
Yeah. This situation happened to me. I realized I still got a lot of pride. Damn.
Yep.
This person exposed my pride.
Yes.
Damn, this sister right here exposed the fact that I was sitting here and I was making too much about the physical.
Yep.
Okay, next I'm not gonna think like that. Oh, this boy right here, he showed me that I'm not as the sharpest guy as I thought I was. I thought I was the man. I was the man like 6 months ago. This guy got me all out of character. I guess I'm not the man right now.
Exactly.
I gotta go study.
And see, that's how you're supposed to take every single interaction that we come across, and it's not. That's how we can sit back here and stop being the victim.
Yeah.
And we can take these difficult situations as opportunities to spiritually grow, like David did. And we'll tie that back into David. Did we finish? I think it was your verse, right?
Yeah, let me finish this.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Psalms 55 verse 21.
Come.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Kinda. So once again, I'm working with somebody who, in my eyes, is out to get me and to destroy me. Read on.
Cast thy burden upon the Lord.
So what does that mean?
Wow.
To cast a burden upon the Lord means what? I'm going to sit back here and allow the Most High to deal with this person's intentions.
Let him work it out.
It's not up to me to determine this guy. How should I deal with this guy? How should I navigate this guy? The Most High is going to deal with this person's intentions or their inventions and their motives.
But can you wait? Because that situation, when you say cast your burdens on the Lord, that means you're going to wait on the Lord's time.
Yep.
Because his clock is different than our clock.
His clock
My
is
clock
way
is
different.
get him in 2 weeks, man. Get this dude.
Yep. Because there's all these prayers that David is saying. The shit didn't happen the next day. He's sitting back here praying for the downfall of the enemies. Next day he's in a cave. His back is on fire because he's in a lumpy cave. We was out here in the woods, and it was rocks in the woods, man. Listen, you look at it, looks like it's flat plains. Yeah. No, it wasn't. My shit was like this. It was all in uncomfortable spots.
Yeah.
He's in uncomfortable spots in caves after these prayers. And every day, I got to keep that hope, which means I got to keep that mentality, even though my reality hasn't changed one bit. And can you maintain that? And can I just say, let the Most High deal with him on his time? The Most High, listen, you know what the crazy thing is? Everybody is the Most High's servant. So let the Most High deal with his servants, how he wants to deal with them on his time. And can I sit back here and work on my relationship with the Most High while I'm waiting? A watch pot never boils is true. I can't focus on how long it's going to take for this damn water to warm up my ramen. Can I sit back here and focus on working on my spirit while I'm waiting for my food to get ready? Yep. And can I sit back and do my job every day with gladness and joyfulness of heart, even though I know somebody's words are as smooth as butter, but there's war in their heart and they're out to get me? Can I accept that dynamic? Most of us can't, because most of us want vengeance, and most of us want to see the vengeance. We want to see it in real time with your popcorn in your hand. See, I Most High got his ass. Yes!
Most High's getting me!
You know what's crazy? I don't know if you ever noticed, I've been in the truth for a little bit. The Most High don't sting the person until you don't care about if they get stung anymore. Yeah. That's when that's bad news? Oh, okay. It would have felt a little better like 5 years ago that I heard the vengeance part. But you don't get, most I don't give you the vengeance that you're expecting.
Get over it. Yeah.
The point is, once you're over it, then you'll get it. But it's not what you want at that time. You don't want it at that time because it wasn't about seeing the person fall. That wasn't the point. The lesson was, can I make this experience be a stepping stone to get closer to the heavenly?
So you don't want us to get satisfaction off people collapsing?
No. That was why when David sat back and killed the guy that said he killed Saul. You're not going to get glory off of taking the Most High's knowing it out. The Most High took him out. It was a sad day that he took him out. It had to get done, but I'm not going to rejoice the fact that he fell. Once again, David's mindset was the template of how we're supposed to handle disputes, issues, and beefs. Can I stay away? Let the Most High. Can I separate myself and let the Most High work with this person and deal with them how He's going to deal with them? And on the day of their fall, I'm not to rejoice. Because even though in the Psalms about he was praying about the fall of his enemies, when they fell, how did he carry himself? He wasn't sitting here rejoicing and dancing, smiling when he fell. He accepted, hey man, you know what? The Most High finally removed that spirit out the way. But from the time that the issue started happening to the end, how did I deal with it? Is the greater lesson. Yeah. How did I deal with it? How was my mindset? That's what the Most High is judging you on. Anyway, is there more?
Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee.
If you hold on, if you cleave to his words, if you cleave to keep fixing the lust of the flesh in you, read on.
He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved.
Hold on. He says, he shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. What does that mean? You have to be righteous to be unmovable. You have to hold on to righteous policies to become unmovable. What he's saying is, if you hold on to the righteous path, you won't be moved. But we're moved all the time because we're not taking a righteous path.
Disturbed and affected.
That means we're not acting right. If we're disturbed and affected, and we're playing reactionary, that means we're not being righteous.
Hold fast that which is good.
Yeah, but that means if I'm not holding fast, that means I'm not righteous. I'm moving, and I'm letting my surroundings change me because I'm not as righteous as I think I am. How about that? If I'm being affected by another person's negative, that means you're not in the spirit then. You're not in the spirit if that negative is affecting you. Huh?
We're both not in the spirit.
That's the point. And that's what he says, the righteous person won't be moved. Yeah. That's your template. If you're moved by other people's scenarios, you're not righteous. How about that? That's how you have to look at it if you are going to use these scenarios to be stepping stones in your spirit. Oh. I like that. So let them finish that. I'm sorry.
Last verse, 23.
Come.
But thou, O power, shall bring them down into the pit of destruction.
Wow.
Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days. Wow. But I will trust in thee.
Well, that verse is right. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their lives. But you know what? That still means they're going to live some of their life. It didn't say the bloody and deceitful man going to die tomorrow, which might take years. Can I accept they're going to run their course, and how
4 years
can I not focus on their course anymore? And how, because what kills us is, why is this aggravating person still in my periphery?
Yeah.
That's what frustrates people, because their presence affects you, and their presence reveals your wickedness.
Yep.
Their presence reveals your negative. So while I have them in my presence, let me detach myself from this negative so I can get the full lesson from it.
And that requires you to put your focus on your work.
And it shows you that you're not as on point as you think you are. Because I'm still letting negative people make me negative.
Yeah. Sick people make me sick.
That's an old black folks thing, man. Being around he says being around sick people, crazy people, make you crazy. Yep. No, that's just because you're negative, and you choose to sit back here and feed that negative. Exactly. That's not a true statement. Christ didn't get sick. Christ didn't start sinning when he was around sinners, did he? Oh man, I'm sinning, God. You gave me all these sinners to be around. What kind of craziness is that? If people are affecting us in a negative way, it's because there's negative in you. So while you're waiting for the wicked to